right, all right. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Everybody who's hanging out already. It's lovely to see you in there. I'm sorry about the word Rumble going through there because I was trying to find a link I had lost on on Rumble, and I thought I was typing in the wrong. It was in the wrong. I have one keyboard that goes to two computers because I'm crazy like that. How are you guys doing? Happy Monday. The initial briefs on the impeachment trial are due this week, and Trump managed to find two replacement lawyers after losing all five of the lawyers that he had going into the weekend. He's now got somebody. Well, he's got two guys on his team. You know, I'm sure they're of the Marjorie Taylor Greene Linwood ilk. I don't think you have to worry too much about the shenanigans they're going to come in with. And yes, Patreons assemble. Welcome. Don't forget to support. Thumbs up, like, share the show. Let them know we're out because we start every day except Thursday and some Sundays around this same time, 3 p.m. Pacific time, my time. And, let people know we're here. That'd be helpful. That would be really great of you to do that. That's me doing a commercial for my own show. Ta-da. But Hal, let me ask you a question. Do you manscape? Anyways, so I have to say that I am to all those who are trapped in the nor'easter right now, welcome. I hope you are watching today's broadcast from the warm side of a bay window in your own place as opposed to a coffee shop where you have to socially distance and it's still cold because somebody keeps opening and shutting the doors. Can you tell I've spent a good amount of my time traveling the country when doing stand-up, spending my afternoons using the internet in local coffee establishments? Yeah, you probably can. So wherever you are, I hope you're staying safe in the middle of all this. It is crazy, kooky madness. It is not that surprising. And they're saying the wind is going to reach up to 50, 60 miles an hour in relation to this nor'easter. So congratulations, New York. You're almost as cold and almost as windy as Chicago. So as soon as you start hitting some of our records, those of us will flick some of our frozen tears near the fireplace so that you can you can see how bad we feel for you. It is, and it's funny, but it's been really chilly here in Vegas, oddly so, and it always throws everybody off. We literally had snow outside our window a few days ago, and then the mountains were covered in snow. Now it's kind of almost gone. It's just nutty. But in the midst of this, please, if you're in a cold area, get yourself a warm beverage, some tea, a little hot cocoa maybe with some marshmallows floating in the top. Just sprinkle a little cinnamon on. Don't be afraid. I'll keep talking. Just go over and make it right now. You've wanted it. You're like, is it cold enough for that? Yeah. Maybe. Here's an idea for a beverage. And can you tell I forgot to get one for myself before I came down because this is my conversation? But some broth. Just get you some veggie broth or chicken broth, whatever you prefer, whatever. Just sipping some broth as a form of tea. Good. It's good. It's good in that cold weather. Keep you warm inside. To quote Jackie Chan's uncle in The Big Brawl, get something hot in the stomach. So it's always important. Miso, great idea. See, there you go. Now you're getting it. Is it a little Jamestown? No, because I'm not telling you. No Kool-Aid. We have a total. Oh, Rooibos is good. Red tea. Gotta love it. So there is no shortage of things for today's show. And I'm having a hard time even structuring what the beginning, middle, and end or stuff involved in this show. I think the first things up should be the stuff I'm most likely to bail on because they have the promise of something ridiculous and hilarious and embarrassing and stupid, but are also at the same time magically dull. And I bring you as an example, Terrence Williams and Dinesh D'Souza on a show about censorship. And I gotta say, all right, look, as a comic, and I've talked to Christopher Titus about this. I'm gonna try to get him on my show this weekend on the radio show to talk about this a little bit. But this whole clamoring about, you can't even make jokes anymore. You can't even joke about stuff. It's so politically correct. As if that isn't something people have been saying literally since the mid-'80s. The fact that Bill Maher's old show was called Politically Correct and was taken off the air, and then he's like the 10th season of his second show, shows you how sort of tired and belabored the whole politically correct issue is. But I'm sure they're going to put a new spin on it so we all understand what censorship is right now. And then we're going to get to GameStop, and we're going to get to, I suppose, the remnants of the Trump administration and their Fox News appearances.
Debbie and I are actually big fans of the comedian Terrence Williams.
Look at the title of this. The left is terrified of this comedian. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I dig some hyperbole. But I honestly, it's more like humans are terrified of getting into a van with this man. Okay.
We saw him on social media, and the two of us would share his memes, and we'd laugh our heads off. And then finally we got to meet Terrence, and he's now sort of become a part of our extended family.
He lives right here in the next room.
We had fun hanging out with him in Texas. Terrence went to New York and met my daughter Danielle. So
now this is getting awkward.
Oh, Terrence, it's just delightful.
It's a good shot. It's a good shot. I'm glad. Guys, aces on the production value right now. I for one, am really impressed, I have to tell you.
To have you on the podcast.
Looks good. This is not me doing this shot. This is what they have posted online.
Terrence is the author of a remarkable book, and I don't often say this.
It's a remarkable book called I'm Half Myself and Half of You.
So, from the Foster House to the White House. It's remarkable, really, Terrence, because you're remarkable.
Because you didn't actually work in the White House. You just got to visit it. And yeah.
Remarkable guy with a remarkable story.
It is remarkable, and you can tell because he's remarking about it.
So can you start by telling us a little bit?
Thank you, Raphael. Just got here. Oh crap! It's douche in itself. Yeah.
About your life.
Can you? Why are you ashamed of the opposite side of your face that I'm ashamed of on mine? I don't know why. What is the problem, Dinesh? You have 5. What? I mean, it's 3 of the same, I think. The 3 same movie posters over and over behind you. You have 3 of those, and you can't figure out landscape versus portrait?
Life, from the way it started and the hardships that you encountered.
Well, when a mommy conservative and a daddy conservative love each other very much, so the daddy conservative goes down to a truck stop and meets a... Oh.
Because I want to draw out the lesson of how does somebody climb out of something like that?
And into landscape. How can they get to landscape? Dinesh, tell us.
So, tell us a little bit about how Terrence
Half your face.
Williams got going.
Well, first, I just want to say congratulations on your new podcast. And
yeah, man, it's so good. Congratulations on... excuse me. Can the participation ribbon, folks, please... not be the first ones to congratulate people for having a goddamn podcast. It's a podcast. Look, literally anyone can have one. You don't have to, obviously, clearly, Terrence. Dinesh doesn't have to pass an IQ test to get one. He doesn't get one as an award. They even allow felons to have them. Otherwise, I'd like to congratulate you on being able to use crosswalks.
And I want to thank you and Debbie for being, so supportive. And we're just one big happy family now,
It is fun. It's fun. You guys all hang out and do stuff. It's so sweet. What kind of stuff do you do?
So I really appreciate it.
It's great.
But so my book From the Foster House to the White House is about my journey of going through foster care. My mother, sadly, she was addicted to crack cocaine, and she had 9 children, and there were 6 different fathers, and they were not in the picture. And she was unable to take care of us because of her sickness. So I ended up in the foster care system, in and out of homes. I was in over 10 homes, and
Not including Dinesh's.
I wasn't adopted until the age 15. But regardless of all the things that I've been through, I live in the greatest country in the world, America.
Yes. You mean where there's a foster care system and the government certifies and regulates the foster care system so that kids aren't sold on the black market or murdered in their sleep or sold for parts, I suppose, if you want to believe the Q crowd. You know, the government plays a large part in protecting foster children, has an entire system. So much of one that they even call it the system.
America is the greatest country. And so
This side of
even though I went through foster care, I was able to make my dreams come true because this is the land of the opportunity.
That's right. I always look at it as the land of the opportunity. There's one opportunity, and I hope you take advantage of it because that's it. Once you've used it up, you're done. And of course, realizing your dream of living in Dinesh D'Souza's daughter's guest room, weekends only. Yes, he lived off socialism till he was 15. Social services played a huge part in teaching me how awful the government
Well,
is.
you have
That I would, of course, be dead without. But please, Dinesh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt half your face.
a land of opportunity, but it also takes something inside of you, Terrence, to say, look, I'm not going to allow
Take it anymore. I'm not going to allow the foster system to feed me and house me and protect me from.
the fact that I am a genuine victim. See, you're not a hypothetical victim. You are a real victim. But nevertheless, you didn't let that define you. How did you
No.
do that?
You know, Dinesh, I can have all the excuses in the world. You know what? I can sit at home, not do anything, collect food stamps. I can, live in poverty if I choose to. And I can have an excuse and say, oh, well, because my mother was on drugs. Oh, because I was in foster care. This is why I'm going through this. But there comes a time in your life where you have to start taking responsibility.
Well, you have no responsibility till you're an adult. And you took it responsibility once you became an adult. But until you were an adult, you were someone else's responsibility. And because of what had happened to you and the addiction of your mom, the state provided for you and took responsibility for you as a child until such time as
When you
Christ.
become an adult, you have to take responsibility.
What? When did that shit start? What are you talking about?
And I just thank God. And I have to thank God.
The government is not God. I don't know why Republicans want the government to be their God, but
Because God was with me. When I didn't have a mother, I had God. When I didn't have a father, I had God. When I was
and you also had food and a public education system. And
separated from my siblings, I had God.
Thanks, Susan.
And thank God that he was, able.
Yeah, thank God for God. I don't know if God, if you're listening, thank God for yourself.
To be there with me.
Did I mention God though? Oh, thank you. Hi, how are you? My girlfriend snuck up on me with an huh? What? Yes, God is delivering tea. Thank you, Lord. The tea has been delivered from the sunshine. It has fallen upon us. Plain iced tea. It is just a wonderful thing.
And to give me a strong mind. But people have to realize.
Yes, God did give you a strong mind by using Democratic voters who voted for social services against the will of Republican voters and Republican politicians over the years that guaranteed things like S-chip and public education and after-school programs and programs for people to get out of addiction and off the street and those kind of all those things that God in his own infinite odd ways led the souls of Democrats to create so that you wouldn't die.
You have to take responsibility. You cannot have excuses your whole entire life.
No, you can't. But your current excuse is, all right. There's a certain point where bragging that you've taken responsibility when you become an adult means that you're kind of griping about having to.
You can't put the blame on your mother, your father, your brother. You have to start taking responsibility.
All right, I will. Look, I'm sick of this. They always have an intervention right when I'm like, all right, Dinesh is going to read me a poem now. It's going to be embarrassing.
Folks, I want you to get a hold of Terrence's book, because not only is it about Terrence, it's really an
You might want to read it if you actually get a hold of it. I mean,
inspirational American story. And it's a
totally
story
is.
that is so...
It's in English, so don't worry. It will be translated into nothing.
encouraging to us as
This book is written in America.
conservatives, because we realize that no matter what deck of cards you're dealt with in life, ultimately it's about...
Whatever hand you're dealt. The deck is where the hand comes from, the deck of life in this analogy. What deck you're dealt with? Like, Jesus Christ.
how you play them. That's what determines your fate. Now, I want to talk to you, Terrence, a little bit about Trump.
Your fate. You played by the rules. You've taken responsibility. You've written a book, and still you're hanging out with a felon and his weird daughter. Why?
Because knowing you as I do, you must have been sort of heartbroken by what happened to Trump. And just the way that they have piled...
Heartbroken. Heartbroken. All right, heartbroken. Give us why you're heartbroken.
on Trump. They're trying to lock him up. They're trying to disgrace his legacy. They're trying to go after the people who supported Trump.
No, let me answer those, whatever. Not necessarily, we're not trying to lock him up. The impeachment trial is not about locking him up. If he faces criminal prosecution from SDNY or others, that doesn't have anything to do with what Democrats are doing in the House and in the Senate at all. It's an impeachment trial about the honor of holding office going forward based on your behavior. Well, the lock him up conversation, it might be a little bit of fast twitch reflex on Dinesh's part, but that's certainly not what the action of the impeachment is about. There's no impeachment jail. What was the other one? Dinesh, I started to, I was so interested in what I was saying, I started to remember that I don't give a shit.
His legacy. They're trying to go after the people who...
his legacy, right. Okay, his legacy. There is nothing I or anyone on my side of the political spectrum could do to Donald Trump's legacy that he hasn't already beat us to it. And nowhere, Harvey Dent Sousa. I mean, Trump has ruined his own legacy. His fomenting of the an incitement of the riot on the 2016 or on 1/6, that in and of itself blew away half of his support on the Republican side. I mean, literally, people are, after the attack on the Capitol, state after state is noting that a lot of people are shedding their Republican registration.
Supported Trump. Tell me a little bit about how you feel.
When they're going after you. Terrence, tell it how, like, Dinesh knows what it's like to have going after him. I mean, he was attacked so harshly, he has a new podcast. Congratulations. Terrence, please tell us with half your face how the release of your new book and your brand new Flip This House style wall behind your flat screen TV make you feel attacked.
But then set it in the context of, what is it about Trump that attracted you so much that you said, I think...
His neck gina. I mean, it's like a magnet. How does that not suck you in?
You said in our movie, Trump Card, you go, I don't just like Trump, I love Trump. And I want to draw out
Tell
people
us.
who think, oh my God, Terrence, you're an African American. You look at the background, you go, how can you possibly like this fellow who was a white supremacist who said there were nice guys in Charlottesville? So tell us a little bit about your feelings toward Trump and where.
Yeah, get emotional. I mean, you should tear up on this. Let me tee you up. If you can, while the left side of your face is off camera, maybe either pull a hair out of your left nostril or maybe wipe some, like just a dash of salt right here, like that, so that while we cut to you full screen, it can be like a single tear. Single tear. You complete me.
What do you think those are rooted in?
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I was sick to my stomach.
Did you have a fish delight?
I've been sick to my stomach about what's been going on and how they are treating treating President Trump. And yes, I still refer to him as President Trump.
Well, everybody calls we say President Clinton too, even though he's the former president. President Carter. I mean, that's how we say it. We actually refer to all former presidents based on the title. It's kind of how, like, Rudy Giuliani, people still call him mayor, even though all things being equal, they would just call him, asshole.
Still my president. But what they are doing to him is
he's still your president? So he still writes laws that affect your life? So let's just say, still my president. Let's just say that Trump sends out a press release that he doesn't believe in stoplights anymore. He's your president. The president legally, I suppose, could write an executive order eliminating, of course, to this crowd and the rules and powers that Trump clearly should have. They'll just forget. All right, okay.
It's absolutely disgraceful and disgusting. And this
terrible.
should not happen to any president. The way that they are treating President Trump, I don't even wish that on Joe Biden. You don't.
Well, I mean, first of all, yeah, you do. I mean, you can't say the other shit you say about Joe Biden and not wish that kind of thing on him. What kind of an amoral fraud would you be? And what's the part of what's so bad? That he's going to get impeached and he can't run for office again? The guy's supposedly the greatest billionaire ever, is such a good businessman. I mean, why would he even want to run again?
Treat anyone like that. That is absolutely wrong.
What did Trump say?
That was an edit.
What did he do that made you realize that this is your guy? This is a guy that you can sort of...
Well, it was less, Dinesh, to do with what he said and more to do with his scent. His musk. He just, there was I don't know, when I first got downwind from him, there was just an odor. There was hold on one second. I have to arrange,
We need
there
you.
was...
Hell, I need you. I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your scent. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.
But what was it?
And this is a guy that you can attach not just to your political commitment, but kind of your affection toward.
This took a really weird turn. But I'm glad that they're expanding their feelings for the first time, that emotionally.
When Trump came down those escalators.
Yes. Pink shirt is Dinesh D'Souza, and Terrence is the comedian that he is interviewing.
And when Trump spoke to the American people, I knew there was a time for real change. Obama talked about it's time for a change. Obama didn't change anything, okay? Obama was a swamp. Obama was the problem in this country.
Terrible. It's awful. The Affordable Care Act. Yeah, like taking down Osama bin Laden, literally recovering the entire economy from the precipice. Just terrible. But when Trump came down the gold escalator and said they're rapists. I was like, okay, he hates Mexicans as much as I do. This is my dude.
But you know, and I've been able to spot out real from the fake ever since I was a child, Dinesh.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the what?
I grew up, you listen, I've been in abusive homes. I've been around a lot of bad people. I've been around a lot of good people. I can spot it out easily. And when I saw President Trump, I said, this man is the real deal and we need to give him a chance. Okay. Listen, I've made mistakes in my life and people.
Yeah, Terrence, I guess is what he's trying to tell us is, and Terrence, I wouldn't want to speak for you in this area, but you've grabbed women's privates without asking, presuming that they would just let you because you're a star, Terrence. They just let you when you're a star, you know. I mean, if you even think there's going to be a woman waiting for you as you're walking off the bus, you pop a couple of Tic Tacs because you're just going to slip her the tongue before you even know her name. We've all, right, Terrence?
People have given me a chance, and I said, you know what? This man is not perfect, but let's give him a chance and let's see what he do. And he was a man of his word. Promises made, promises kept.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the bumper sticker on, what's the point of pulling it off? Promises made, promises kept. 20 miles of wall. Billions spent, taken from military families. I mean, Mexico didn't pay for it. World's biggest tax cut, the biggest tax cut in American history, which, of course, wasn't. And only the corporate side of it was permanent. It was just standard run-of-the-mill Republican tax cutting. Just they already had it drafted before he was even president. What else? What were the other promises made? Oh, he promised he would sign the VA Choice Act of 2014. And it was enacted from day one. Of course, it was enacted for a couple years before he got in office. But what are we? Promises made, promises kept.
Listen, I don't care that people don't like his personality. This man got things done in this country.
Yeah, he did. He lost tens of thousands of ventilators. He waited on the pandemic for months so he could sign a deal with China, and then later alleged that they actually sent the pandemic on purpose. So he, of course, facilitated the greatest bioweapon attack in American history, and his response was to give them soybeans, corn, and beef.
This man put the American people first, and that is what it's all.
Well, not all American people, but technically he's right. I mean, Jared, Ivanka, Trump himself, his donors, the rich dudes he golfs with, like those are Americans, and he put them first. I mean, technically, there should be a little asterisk next to the America first, but you get me.
All about it is about the American people, not about personality. It's about policy. That's what it's about.
You made a point.
I respect him for that.
Darren,
Dinesh, let him talk.
You made a point in Trump card where you said that Trump.
Yeah, don't just drop your own. I can't. By the way, I was only going to show a little bit of this because I thought this was supposed to be about how the left fears this comedian. We are halfway through this garbage.
Oh, the black community. The black community didn't put Trump in office, so he could have easily said, "Well, guys, this guy didn't vote for me. Who cares?" But
exactly.
So I think spell out that a little bit. The fact that you were
exactly.
struck.
You know.
Oh God.
You know they call this man a racist, and
yeah, because he is. Because he literally walked into the accounting firm that represented Trump Organization. There were black accountants working there, and he did not want them working on his accounts because he didn't believe that black people were good with numbers. He wanted, quote, the guys with the small hats. He and his father also were sued by the Justice Department for not renting to black people. It's a racist. And he will, on a class level, believe that, say, for example, certain Arab groups, because they came across the Caucasus Mountains, or the Indian people, for example, who are technically Caucasian for that very same reason, that they are in a group of whites in their own right, and you deal with the rich ones, but the rest of them are rabble. So they believe in the primary caste system in the Middle East and in India, particularly, about people born into strata. and the royalty. Like, he'll sign up for hanging out with royalty, but he's,
President Trump won the 2016 election without the black vote. He didn't get much of the black vote at all. We all know that. Now, when he was elected, he bent it over backwards for the black community. He did cartwheels for the black community.
That is a mental image I will never be able to steal wool out of my brain. Terrence Williams, Donald Trump did cartwheels for the black community. Please tell me he goes up higher than that. Like, he bent over backwards. He did cartwheels. This man blew himself for the... This man formed a one-man human centipede for the black community. This man kissed his own ass.
He did things that we thought the first black president was going to do. I thought Obama was going to do all the things that Trump did.
But you thought Obama was going to take money from military families to extend the border wall by about 3 miles at every port site and claim that he was building one across the entire border? You thought Obama was going to put a plaque with his own name on a portion of the border wall that he built, or I guess in the case of what Trump did, put his own name on a part that Bush had built. That part? Or you mean legalizing cannabis?
So that's where I was like, you know what?
What? Like, what parts? Cite this.
This man is the real deal. He is about the American people. And all these black people talk crap about, they talk crap about this. They said bad things about this president. They said horrible things about him. And he still helped the black community. Because
I got news for you. The president is the president of everybody. He's that's like saying, like, I wait for Terrence and Dinesh D'Souza midway through after some of these infrastructure projects start, and they start building highways and broadband as part of the big infrastructure package that Biden's getting through, and he will, because they're going to more than likely do huge chunks of it with reconciliation after they use one reconciliation up for the rescue package. That I'm going to wait for Dinesh D'Souza and Terrence Williams to come out and go, the people in the red states didn't vote for Biden. They thought he was an illegitimate president. They attacked this man, and he still gave them broadband, new highways, and fixed their bridges. Should I hold my breath? Terrence, should I hold my breath?
Because it's not about him. It is about the American people. And that's why we'll always love and respect President Trump.
Terrence, let's turn to the topic of digital censorship. You've had...
Now, here we go. This is it. Digital censorship. These two men know what they're talking about. They have had half of their faces removed by big tech. Well, little tech. Dinesh doesn't know to turn his phone sideways.
Some battles on social media. Tell us a little bit about that. And is that because comedy at its root is a little dangerous? In other words, comedy...
Yeah, tell us how dangerous you are.
It's dangerous not because what it says is false, but because it cuts to the core of what is true. Why have these
Yeah, that's precisely why I'm funny, Dinesh.
Digital moguls been after you?
Because I'm bringing up the truth that this is a flailing pile of shit. That you are both talking out of your asses. And it isn't the content of your jokes, it's the meaning behind them that is being dismayed online.
And how have you been surviving that ordeal?
You know,
how do you survive the great nor'easter of comedy?
Facebook, they took one of my videos down because I made a joke and said that turtles are going to be voting in the election. It was just a joke. I said.
Did Mitch McConnell's people say it constituted violence? Turtles. Please tell us. God damn it. Now I want to know what this joke is. How does this even functionally work? What? Somebody has got to have the balls in comedy to make some friggin' turtle jokes Am I right?
Turtles will be voting for the Democrats in this election. And they took the video down saying that it was fake news, that turtles cannot vote. That
as an aside, I'm going to call bullshit and move on.
reptiles cannot vote. And I'm like, it's just a joke. But you know what? Comedy is the best thing ever, because
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for someone saying that, because here I am every day just laying it on thick spontaneously. I mean, these aren't jokes that I'm crafting while sitting at a desk going, turtles. But they're still, I think, functioning jokes as you do. And here I am faced with all these people, and it's just, I spend so much time figuring out the wording. How do I joke without being totally disgusting? And yet you found a way to just go, why bother?
I can get anyone to listen to me with comedy, and that's what big tech does not.
That's what big tech doesn't like. Big tech hates comedy. That's why Louis C.K. got kicked off. He was just too funny.
Like, they don't like it. I have had people that have been on the other side and say, you know what, Terrence, until I watch your videos, and I only watch them because, you know, I wanted to get a laugh. And even though
Yes, Terrence, my name is Bob from Ohio, and as I sit here in front of my computer watching your videos, man, I used to be a Democrat, but watching your videos I find very funny. I am not paid for these views by Macedonian Troll Farm and RNC funds at all.
I didn't agree with you, I wanted to get a laugh. But while I was getting that laugh, you also taught me something, you know?
Yeah, because it works on so many levels. Like, I used to say, you know, I thought a terrapin and a turtle were exactly the same thing, and it turns I learned so much.
Because I've been reading fake news for the longest. Because in comedy, you know, you can get people to listen, and then you can also spread a message in comedy.
What?
Because everybody's listening. Everybody's
listening to comedy.
Wants to laugh. And big tech does not like that at all. And they have shut me out. I have not been able to post on my Facebook in almost 3 months since
the turtle joke, since the great turtling
election. I've been shut out. And Facebook say they don't know what's going on. Twitter, I lost over 200,000 followers, Dinesh.
Oh my God. And I'm sure they were all legitimate human beings and not a huge chunk of bots and a bunch of people who made for the hills when Trump got kicked off because they went to Parler. I lost all these people. I gained a bunch on Parler, but shouldn't I be able to keep both of them and pretend that I have 200,000 followers when I have 100,000 of the same assholes on two platforms?
I had 1.2. I'm almost at 900,000. I'm almost at 900,000. This is
it's terrible.
Absolutely disgusting. People can't find me on Instagram. They don't want the truth.
How funny are your pictures, though?
Out there. They don't want our voices to be heard. There are two sides to every story. But when it comes,
no, there isn't. Well, I guess there is. There's two sides to every story. There's the guy on the roof who thinks he can fly, and there are people on the ground saying he can't. That's not two sides of a story. The story is a bunch of people yelling at a guy who thinks he can fly to not kill himself. The two sides of the story at this point are his belief in gravity and gravity's absolute existence.
When it comes to big tech, they only want people to know one side, and that side is the wrong side.
People need to understand this isn't.
Okay, that jumped over. I don't know why this goes to. They finally get to landscape, and this is the pictures we get. That's the end of that video. Good Lord. By the way, this is my new favorite thing since the GameStop thing. And those of you that don't, if you guys that don't understand, wait, I'll show you this first. This is Ben Shapiro explaining the GameStop short debacle, the short crunch, as a prank. Ben Shapiro breaks down the funniest Wall Street prank ever.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to explain what just happened with GameStop. To put it mildly,
if I had my druthers in life, I would live in a GameStop. And I don't mean play games because no one wants to play with me. I mean, what I would do is I would go in there, you know, khakis, button-down shirt, eyebrows on fleek, and I would fondle all the used controllers.
it's been a wild ride for GameStop, which at one point here has
Find me a picture that says wild ride. By the way, Fellatio VR is no joke, and you do not play around with this kind of stuff. There is lawnmower man damage that can be done. And by the way, he's using a still from SNL. So
has been valued at more than Delta Airlines, which is very weird because GameStop, for people
work on some graphics and throw in
who have
some.
visited it, is basically a swap meet meets Blockbuster for video games. Basically, here's what happened. So at the beginning of
Yeah, tell us what happened. Okay, what happened was I went to Cole and this shirt spoke to me.
January, they had a change in leadership, and that caused some optimism at the company. But some people thought that the optimism was sort of overvalued at the company in hedge fund world. So what happened is all of those hedge fund traders, they short sold the stock. So I'm going to explain what exactly happened, and then
Yeah, tell us what a short sale is. A short sale is when Ben Shapiro
a bunch of
becomes
people
a
on
slave.
Reddit basically screwed all of those hedge fund guys. It's pretty unbelievable. We'll get to that in just 1 second. First,
It's actually quite
I
believable.
want to remind you, you need to check out expressvpn.com.
Oh my God, we have to sit through an ad for this stuff. Who are you, Rudy Giuliani? Okay,
So
back to this.
we first have to explain what a
First, we have to explain. This is my favorite thing ever. This thing right here. This is my favorite thing that exists in the world. This is what is commonly referred to as a whiteboard. I had an option to have a blackboard, and I said no. Sorry.
short sale is, for people who don't actually know what a short sale is. So
It's when you go to Kohl's and they have a lot of outlet mall kind of shirts that are available, and you're like, if sorry.
we have a couple of players
I don't even know that he's short. I think he's probably my height, ironically.
in our short sale. Okay, if you believe a value is overpriced for a stock, if you think that a stock is overpriced, then you engage in what's called a short sale, so you can capture.
Oh, that's what I do. Oh, I engage, you guys. Isn't that what you do? You engage in a short sale. You know, if you're thinking, I don't know. You engage in a short sale. All
The
right.
value of the overpricing. Here's how it works. You have a hedge fund guy.
This is the picture that Ben Shapiro has on his wall of what he thinks he looks like.
We're going to call that guy Bruce because
No, his voice is not sped up. This is his actual voice.
everybody hates Bruce, right? So here's Bruce. Okay, so you got Bruce.
Everybody hates Bruce, do they?
Over a 1 month period,
Bruce Lee, Bruce Springsteen. Okay.
Bruce believes that the stock of GameStop is going
I'm just going to call him Ben. This guy, Ben. No, there's a Ben I like. And it's interesting, Ben, you and I have a bit of a history because my husband on Queer as Folk's name was Ben. So awkward.
to drop, right? This is 1 month, okay? So what does Bruce do? He doesn't own any stock.
Why are you playing like French cafe music? Is this supposed to make this wacky?
In GameStop because he doesn't like GameStop. He thinks that it's actually not a company that is of great value. So what does Bruce do? He goes to a broker.
No, he doesn't give a shit. He thinks it's going to lose money. It has nothing about the value of the actual company. It's not that he doesn't think it's a great company or that it's flagging or going down because of the function of the place itself. No. He's going there because he thinks it's going to lose money and he can make money off it losing money. That's why he's short selling it.
Right? The broker.
Wait, I got a good idea. Do American Airlines a week before 9/11.
Then proceeds to lend Bruce the stock. Okay? The stock.
This is where This is where Ben Shapiro realizes that writing on a on a chalkboard or a whiteboard is way harder than you thought it was. That you're writing, you had no idea how shitty your handwriting was, and writing in a straight line. Like if Ben Shapiro was giving a breakdown for his own little internal company, Ben Shapiro Inc., whatever, they would lose money every quarter just because as he drew on the board, it would start to taper off. Like, God, just look at that graph. It's just falling apart. No, I just go down when I write. So I can't pace myself. It's this Kohl's shirt. It's too binding.
He's moving from the broker to Bruce. Bruce is going to borrow that stock for a month. Then, 1 month from now, Bruce is going to give that stock back to the broker plus some sort of percentage fee. So let's just say that Bruce...
Percentage fee. He's going to borrow it at its current price, and own it at that price. So he's selling it at the price. He's expecting it to go down, so he will give it back at the price that he took it at. And so he has to, if he has 10 shares, he borrows the 10 shares. He goes and sells them. They're not his. He sells them at $10 a share. Then hopefully the price goes down like he thinks it's going to. He can buy those shares back for $4, give the shares back, and keep 6 of every share. That's how it works. That's what a short sell is. This is not hard. Look at this.
Bruce is going to give for the sake of easy math, the broker back the stock plus $10. So Bruce, in 1 month, is then going to reverse the transaction. He's going to return the stock to the broker plus $10.
Which is ridiculous on a stock that cost $13. Like, this analogy has already eaten shit.
Okay, now, Bruce, again, he thinks that the stock is overpriced right now. So now Bruce has the
So he calls Ben Shapiro on the phone.
stock. So what does Bruce do? Let's say that
Seriously, if I was Eugene Levy, I would sue.
the stock price is $50 for the sake of argument. So Bruce then goes to the market
Yeah, it isn't.
and he
Uh-huh.
is going to sell this stock. Right? He's going
Back to the broker a month before he gets them. This is such a great graph.
to sell the stock that he has borrowed to the market.
My question is, would you get more or less out of the stock if you used this half of the whiteboard? Honestly, Glenn Beck must be watching this pissed. Why is the market that way? Why is he brokering it back to the market? Because he's using his own broker to sell the broker's own shares back? Is the broker taking a fee off this? Are you making the case that hedge funds double dip by brokering their own shit?
Okay. And Bruce, in return, is going to receive. Bruce now has $50 in his pocket. Now, the month progresses. Bruce has no stock, but he has to return the stock back to the broker. So what does he do? He waits for a month. Now, because Bruce was right, the stock price dropped. So Bruce can now buy the stock from the market, right? So the market is now going to sell the stock to Bruce. And
Yes, but where does the fiddler on the roof factor in? Because he's working overtime during this
Bruce,
whole display.
let's say it's dropped to $20, is going to pay $20 to the market. So that means that Bruce sold the stock at 50. He bought the stock at 20.
This is so good. Bruce is a genius.
So that means that he made $30 on that transaction. Then he has
And you were making fun of Bruce.
to return the stock plus $10 to the broker. So now he has made $20 on the transaction, right?
Awesome. Yeah, you got it. Person over there, person off the side of my whiteboard. You guys got that? Does this make sense? Now I've got to go use the other half of the whiteboard to explain how it all ate shit. Right.
Right, so here's what everybody at the end of the day got from that transaction. So the broker got the stock plus $10.
Plus $10.
And Bruce ends up clearing a profit of $20 after all that is said and done. Okay, that's what Bruce is hoping for if the value of the stock has dropped. Now, here's what the GameStop guys did. Alrighty, so before we get to more of this, I want to...
Now, wait, you can't... You can't stop. You got to tell us how it worked. Explain the whole, but it's the greatest. What are you selling? Okay.
It's going to protect your online data. So your online data.
Yeah. So let's just say you're trying to bounce your Q posts through the Philippines, and you're using the servers of a guy who sells child porn. You don't want people to know that. And when you reset up Parler, you're bouncing it through a Russian server, and that's where people think it is. But in actuality, okay, keep telling me the story. What?
Entity to all of the websites that you visit, and then monitor with ExpressVPN. It's really
easy to hide your what's scan, pay, and play. What else is on his phone? eBay something. This is Ben Shapiro's home screen. Well, the last page in his home screen. What's scan, pay, play? Anybody know? Is this his version? Yeah. Yeah, Rachel.
Protected.
I explained all this shit without a whiteboard. But then, the addition of a whiteboard is very important to Ben Shapiro and his pet caterpillars.
That's simple. It is not difficult to do. And here is the thing. It's not going to cost you a fortune either. Right now, head on over to ExpressVPN.
I'm not interested. Thank you. Okay, so there you go.
Wall Street Bets. And they noticed that there were a lot of Bruces, and all the Bruces were short selling the stock. All the Bruces were basically betting that they were going to be paying back the broker the stock right now. But they don't actually have the stock, right? They haven't actually bought the stock yet, right? They're planning on buying the stock right before they sell it back to the broker. So they don't have the stock. So what do...
This is called a short squeeze, by the way. It happens all the time in the big brokers. They do it to each other. This is the only reason this is news is because the massive scale and the size of the individuals who did it. That it ended up being a crowdfunding attack. It is basically the Kickstarter of short squeezes. Most of the time, big hedge funds try to obliterate other hedge funds, by manipulating the market this way. So
the subreddit guys do? What the subreddit guys do is they say, okay, what if we just Bruce? What if what we actually
That's a bad word.
do here is drive up the price of the stock, right? So now,
Did you guys just buy some music to play over this that's like, kind of like detective music? I don't care what genre.
when Bruce, let's say he sells it for $50 because he thinks it's going to be down at 20 a month from now. Now the month has passed.
Yeah, we've covered this.
Right? We're now in this period. So the Reddit guys, what do? They say, we are going to...
We've got a great idea for making Ben Shapiro's videos unnecessarily long.
artificially boost the price of the stock because all of us are going to get together. We're going to buy up all the stock that exists in GameStop. We're going to buy like all of it. And so the price is not going to be $20 for Bruce to actually buy the stock so that he can pay back the broker. Instead, the stock is going to be $200. Right? So now
I don't know why you have this guy instead of Bruce. You couldn't get a stock photo of Bruce upset? You got him on the phone. You got him getting ready to go to, getting a Sears portrait. What did this guy do? This guy looks like one of the people, who was hoping that Wall Street Bets worked.
Now, Bruce is really screwed because Bruce sold the stock for $50, but now he has to buy the stock for $200. So that means that Bruce is no longer up $20. Now, Bruce is down $160.
Because of the $10 fee that he made up.
Right, so that is what they are doing, in short. They're basically screwing Bruce beyond belief by artificially boosting the price of the stock. Now, here's
within
the
belief.
thing. They're not taking into account the market fundamentals. They don't care about the market fundamentals. They don't care that GameStop actually is not worth $200 in terms of the stock. So what does that mean? This means that this only works and this can only continue so long as the price of the stock remains high. Because once the price of the stock begins to drop, if he continues to buy short sales, then as the price of the stock drops, you go back to your original calculation, right? If the price of the stock goes back down to $20, then Bruce is okay. He can still buy all of the stock back. So they can keep screwing Bruce for as long as possible just by holding the stock. And that's why you're seeing things like hold the line, do not sell, trending on Twitter. Because all these Reddit guys are like, the longer we do this, the more the hedge fund guys get screwed. Because what the hedge fund guys are doing in order to combat the fact that they're losing money on each one of these deals is, number one, they have to buy the stock in order to pay back the broker, or at least they have to pay the broker some money. And two,
Yeah, they're paying rent for 3
They
months.
realize that at a certain point this is going to give way. Because all the people who bought, all the Reddit guys who bought, eventually they're going to realize, whoa, hold up a second. I can make a lot of money by selling the stock right now, right? That will drop the stock price eventually, but I will clear this giant profit in the meantime. So what the big hedge fund guys are doing is they are betting even more into short, right? They're saying, okay, for sure the stock is going to drop. We know it's going to drop. It's just a matter of time for it to drop. So what they are actually doing is creating more of an impetus for people to continue buying the stock and setting the stock price higher, because the more that they short squeeze, it's called the short squeeze, the more that they short squeeze.
Yeah, you could have written short squeeze across the top of this, because this is what you're explaining or whatever. But the music it's got a nice flute thing to it, so I'm trying not to doze
The
off.
brokers, the more that the brokers are going to have to pay in order to fulfill the promises that they have.
Ben, thank you very much for your presentation. Now, if you could go in the other room and bring in the film strip projector, the rest of the class would like to continue. This is English Lit. We know that math class, you ran out of time in home econ and they didn't let you give your presentation, and I have humored you thus far. But I gotta say your whole presentation is a little pitchy, bro.
Have made to the brokers in the first place. The more Bruces they screw, the more money they can make. But that only holds true so long as you can hold the line, so long as there's a collective action not to just sell right now and drop the price of the stock. So that is what is going on right now. Now, in the midst of all of this, a bunch of tech companies have decided they don't like what the Reddit guys are doing. They don't like that the Reddit guys are screwing.
Is there, honest to God, is there someone sneaking around behind you in a hat and a London fog jacket? Jesus Christ.
The Bruce guys. And there are a couple reasons they're saying this. One is they're saying that the Reddit guys, they don't care about the underlying value of the stock. They don't care about the fact that they are now trading the stock in multiple times what it actually is probably worth. What they really care about is screwing the Bruces of the world, and this is screwing up the market mechanism. So that's kind of that's a somewhat fair criticism. The other thing that they don't like is they don't like the people getting screwed. They don't like that it's the hedge fund guys that they normally trade with who are getting screwed. So what you have seen is places like Robinhood say, we're not going to allow you to continue to buy up the stock and continue to artificially inflate
bullshit
the price of the stock, right? You're seeing other places take down subreddit boards, right? The subreddit board was actually taken down. The folks who did that said, oh, it was to ban hate speech. It was not to ban hate speech. It was not to ban violent speech. It was specifically done in order to undercut the market for GameStop stock. It was deliberately done in order to create a sellable market so people would start selling their stock immediately.
Literally, at this point, they have no idea how many shares are outstanding with GameStop. That's the other thing he's not mentioning at all. Let's say there's 1 million. There are only 1 million GameStop stock options available. Stock certificates. You can only have 1 million shares. Either one person has them or everybody splits them up. There's only 1 million. There was a period during this crazy trading and all the nutty stuff that was going on where there was something like 1.2 million shares, let's say, out and available. That's not possible. People were selling subdivided shares and then marking them down as single shares and all kinds of stuff. That was part of the problem, that the volume of shares actually overtook the amount of actual existing shares because GameStop didn't expect this kind of run. They didn't offer that many shares.
And the price would go back down and people would stop getting screwed over in Bruce world. Okay, so that's exactly what's going on with GameStop right now.
Is Ben your cousin on your...
You can be on either side of that. You can be on either side of that. You have to admit that this is legitimately one of the funniest things that has ever happened in the history of Wall Street.
Well, besides this guy's collection of pins. I mean, his flair is outstanding. And the fact that he's smart enough when the market is crazy. Look at the market tanking in this piece of clip art. I mean, that's just brutal. That Merrick, if that's his real name, works for America, but also is part of the puzzle piece. Obviously, these are all QAnon things. I don't know them. There's number 242 when clearly something 5 on his right sleeve. So, but he at least knows that the stock market was going to suck that day because he wore his sweat-wicking underarm jacket. That's it. Thanks, Daily Wire. What a bunch of douchery. So here's Glenn Beck's take on the whole thing.
Can't do anything. Can't go anywhere. Can't go see a movie because there are no movies.
There's lots of movies. There's tons of movies on streaming. You are surrounded by screens.
People have been crushed all over this country because
Yeah, I know. I don't know if you heard, there was a woman who was literally crushed by the Capitol crowd while carrying a Gadsden flag by a bunch of people who were beating a cop. Is that not what you're talking about?
the government has said, sorry, you can't go to work.
Real quick, is that the Stay Puft Marshmallow, Mike? Why are you looking at me like that, Glenn? You got a close shave on the sides today. It's pretty tight. I'm guessing you went straight up salon?
For now almost a year, people have been told you can't do what you've always done.
Yeah. For almost half this flood, people have been told they can't boat like they've always boated.
Go to work. Small businesses have been crushed. Individuals have been crushed.
Yeah, we're in a pandemic, asshole. Have they been crushed? Have they? Oh yeah, they have, kind of, by Trump's handling of the PPP loans.
Big businesses seem to be doing fine. Amazon.
Yeah, you mean delivery companies?
On record year. Google, Facebook.
Shit people can do while staying at home, you think? He does look like Guy Fieri is auditioning for Colonel Sanders.
High tech. Giant corporations, if they
Giant corporations that you can do from home.
were struggling at all, they got a bailout. Now you got a cute little bit of dough. If you were a small business.
Oh yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene got a PPP loan. She gave it to her campaign, $445,000, I think it was. Yeah, I mean it's against the law. It's against campaign finance law. She broke campaign finance law, but she got almost a $500,000 PPP loan that she used to run for Congress. But please tell me about public financing of campaigns.
You got that first loan, if you could get it. How long did that last?
I don't know. It depends on how frugal you are with it and what it covered.
Well, you can always get unemployment. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, that helps. I owned a small business. I was doing well, and now I could get unemployment? Oh, gee, that's swell.
Well, speaking as someone who is flourishing during this, Glenn, you should be able to tell people that you're doing really well. As people are staying home, you're actually seeing a rise in your finances because you're providing a service that people can enjoy from home. They can watch it from home. See how that works?
Big business and the United States government in collusion with each other have been crushing the little guy.
The little guy. You know what's been crushing the little guy? Lung pressure from COVID, you asshole.
But remember, it's the Republicans that are with big business.
Yeah, they are.
How is this happening?
Oh, it's because the big businesses that you guys supported for a long time are actually old technology, are outliving their usefulness, are damaging to the environment, are morally and ethically corrupt. And over time, because even though they've had to come from behind, other companies are overtaking them in value. And they don't, and you didn't side with them because you were actively against them because you were siding with the old tech.
We used to be a country that used to love the underdog, and wasn't.
I'm sorry. The underdog? Trump announced his presidency coming down a gold escalator. What are you talking about? Guess who was the underdog? Do we want to look up? Hold on one second. Let's see. Let's see. Here's Joe Biden is poised to deliver the biggest surprise of 2020, a short, orderly primary. So he was behind by a lot, and everybody thought that that there was no way he was going to actually be able to overtake. But okay,
Isn't it the underdog that had the little rocket ship emojis a few weeks ago? On Reddit, weren't those the underdogs? Those were the people that they're now saying they took their stimulus check. How dare them? They took their stimulus check.
I'm sorry. Were we all clutching our pearls and talking like this?
And they were
by the way, the Reddit folks that were talking about buying this stuff, the Wall Street crowd on there, they bought a lot more than a stimulus check worth of GameStop.
Buying GameStop. How dare them do that? You didn't.
How dare them do that? I may have said that at some point. How dare them do that? How dare them do that?
Didn't say anything when they were buying drugs or alcohol with their stimulus check. You don't give a flying crap about that. Here's people that can't. They. What are you going to do? You can't go outside. If you're in California, you can't go out and play golf with your friends. You can't get together with.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can. Golf wasn't one of those things that was shut down. The restaurant at the club might be.
With your friends. You can't go to the movie. You can't go to the bar.
Yeah, we're in a pandemic.
What are you going to do with the money that you used to spend on entertainment? Well,
I would go with save it or invest it or. But are we talking about the stimulus check? Isn't what we're talking about.
Some people are spending it now online through Robinhood, which you don't have to pay for the trade, and that's their entertainment.
Yeah, it's just entertainment.
Some people are trying to make money. Oh, yes.
Other people are professional online poker players.
I know, but the government needs to step in because they might lose. Oh, gee, thank you. Yes, and they might actually win, too. And they
seriously, is this just an all straw man episode? Who are these people who are, because quite frankly, all of Glenn Beck's friends are the ones who have their money handled by hedge funds. They're the ones flipping out about this. This faux populism bullshit around this is absurd.
Winning.
Thank you, Gloria.
And they weren't doing anything illegal. I'm not saying.
By the way, I didn't. Stephanie Clark and Grim R, thank you, and Maxwell, thank you for the super chat, and Franken Smithberry and Beth, and your brother Levi, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Those that are following on Twitch, if you like, subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, please do that. It'll annoy Glenn Beck.
I'm a fan of it, although I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. But it wasn't illegal. There was nothing wrong with it. They were open. They weren't betting on this stock because somebody was telling them, this is the greatest company in the world. There's nothing but upside here. They all said, it's probably about right, but let's just save this company. Because to the people on Reddit, GameStop was
It wasn't about right. It wasn't. All stocks are depressed currently, especially ones that are retail-based. Even if GameStop had to downsize or declare bankruptcy because of the pandemic, they could still rebound over time, and their stock price is probably worth maybe $16 to $20, depending on how they do it. And it was down to like $6. There is reason enough just to buy it on that, don't take my stock advice, but just in the basic, we all are aware of one of the reasons why the Robinhood kids and a bunch of other people are investing right now, because they're buying the dip caused by COVID, and a lot of it is inorganic. It's not, most of these companies are depressed not because of any fault of their own. Unlike the 2008, for example, where a lot of rich people made a lot of money because they could afford to buy the dip because none of their stuff was affected, because it was almost entirely related to real estate and the ramifications of the banks loaning money that eventually hurt businesses. They could watch that happen, know it would recover in certain areas because it wasn't restaurants' fault and the like. It was because of these credit default swaps. Everybody knows this is because of COVID. So a bunch of these people, even though it's going to, puff up a little bit over time, it's still not a bad bet when they got in at 3, and that kind of thing.
It was a part of their life, in the days when malls were around. And they would go into GameStop and they would get their games.
Yeah, and they want it to be there when this is over. And the hedge funds were betting against it and making a situation where it was so overt that it was tanking the price. It's not, once word on the street comes that the hedge funds are coming for a retailer, then that becomes market manipulation, because people are expecting, like, oh, this company's screwed because these guys are betting on it losing. So everybody who would invest in it, because it's naturally going to go up a little, because it's a valuable company and it has employees, it does, it sells something people want. It's very baseline economics. Can't match up to, look, the word on the street is that this company's going under, so I'm going to short it. And then everybody starts shorting it, and then everybody, in the rest of the market goes, it's coming. That's how these guys found out. It was so overt. And by letting the word get out that they're shorting it, and the volume at which they were going to short it, by letting that news break, because this is not about short sales versus a short squeeze. Not at all. I wish I had a whiteboard. But the reality is that the short sellers leaked out onto the market that were short selling this thing so that people would get out, so there'd be plenty of stock at a lower price for them to buy back later to add value to their short. You start shit talking the company and going, yeah, it's coming. Everybody's shorting this stock right now. Then it starts to drift. And then you make more money off of it. That's what happened.
And now that time has passed, but GameStop is still in there fighting. I've been in a GameStop in the last 2 years.
Yeah, but lurking around to creep the teenagers is not the same thing, Glenn.
I have a 9-year-old. I go 10 times a week.
Correct.
That is the appropriate amount.
I mean, it's still
10. You have a wait a minute. You have a 9-year-old? I have a 9-year-old. You have a 9-year-old and you go 10 times a week. You go just on work days, not on the weekend like an asshole. I go twice a day like anybody else. Never go to the gym.
Still in the game. But the hedge fund.
I have a 9-year-old. I go 10 times a week. What? Your kid is 9. He shouldn't be gaming that much. What are you? Oh, God.
Thought it was over. And so they betted against GameStop. You could do that. That's fair. Fine. But once they started following each other, there wasn't enough downside to buy, so they just kept buying anyway. They bought 40% more than there was stock.
That's the point. There wasn't available funds. This is the part that Ben missed. This is why they stopped it. And this is where Glenn will argue that the big guys stopped the little guys from buying on Robinhood, and this is just wrong when he just ate his own argument.
How does that work? You better hope it goes down, because if it starts to go up, you can never sell. There's a great story in the Federalist about this and about.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could pretty much evergreen say that.
How this works. It's as if you say, I'm gonna buy.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Analogy time. It's right-wing analogy time. Oh boy, it's like what?
10 cars.
10 cars.
And I'm gonna buy 10.
10 cars.
I just know there's not gonna be cars. around, so I won't ever have to do anything about it.
Got it so far? Okay, you're following the analogy? Someone write this down, please. 10 cars, and I'm buying 10 cars because there are not going to be a lot of cars about it. You know, and I'm just gonna...
Well, if only one car is around, well, you get all the money in between. But if somebody...
Yeah, so you got that? Okay, so... I wish Glenn Beck was my broker. If I had a broker, I'd want it to be Glenn Beck. Where's your whiteboard? Right on your hair, Glenn. God.
Says, I want my 10 cars.
Uh-huh.
And you only have 4. Oh, well.
Oh, shit. So, wait. I'm sorry. I don't know why this tickles me so much. This is the stupidest.
But if somebody says, I want my 10...
Hold on, wait, okay. Do the whole thing. I want to hear the whole thing run
there's not gonna
together.
be cars around, so I won't...
Wait, back up. Please give us this whole... This is well thought out.
Federalist about this and about...
It's a great article. Please tell me I can look up this Federalist article and there's just some shit about 10 cars in there and he just totally loses
how this works. It's
all right, here it goes.
It's as if you say, I'm going to buy 10 cars.
Okay.
And I'm going to buy 10.
Uh-huh.
Because
Why?
I just know there's not going to be cars around, so I won't ever have to do anything about it.
Yeah. And
well,
then
if only one car is around, well, you get all the money in between. But if somebody says, I want my 10 cars, and you only have 4, well,
where'd the other 6 go?
You have to then take the person who you just gave the 4 cars to
for a long drive
and buy those 4 back and then give them to him again, and you still have 2 cars, so now you have to buy 2 more cars from the guy.
Holy what? What happened to the other 6? What?
It's the original 4.
What?
But I got to make you whole. I promised 10 cars. Well,
you better get 10 cars in my hole right now. What?
Buy them back from me, and then give me the cash, and then buy 2 more from me, and give me the cash, and we'll call it 10. That's what happened to all the Wall Streeters. Now, all the people in Washington are saying, oh, well, we were just helping the little...
Wait a minute. 16, that's 18. Is this him trying to explain the 40% extra stocks floating around or the short itself? Because I think... Well, I don't know. Let's find...
little guy, because they could lose their shirt. Were you now? Because they were doing fine. It was the hedge funds, you know.
Yeah, you've got 4 cars left, and there's only 6 cars left.
The ones that are all really well connected.
Yeah, dudes with like 10 cars, right.
They were losing their shirt.
What happened to the cars? Wait, how many shirts are we talking about? Did he have 10 shirts to start with? Did he sell the sleeve and have to buy it back?
But in America today, I guess, as George Bush said, we have to violate the free market to save the free market. We no longer have a free market.
Dude, I don't want to go to the market where you keep selling the same 2 cars and buying them back from somebody.
When you can buy GameStop on the Mexican stock exchange, but not the American stock exchange,
Yeah, well, that's why they stopped it, because the stocks that you could buy on the Mexican stock exchange weren't real.
should tell you something.
Yeah, it should tell you that other stock exchanges the world over aren't as trustworthy as ours. Those won't get honored. That's just money laundering. Glenn, where are the other 6 cars? And you and ours, Esmeralda. Thank you.
You see, this happened Thursday and Friday. Do you know why?
Because Joe Biden is president.
Because at the end of the month, everybody's got to belly up to the bar. At the end of the month, you can't ride on the house money anymore. At the end of the month,
you go to GameStop and hang around until the kids come in. How does this work, Glenn?
which the last trading day of the month was Friday, all these hedge funds had to come up and say, okay, here's the money. They couldn't let it ride out. It was the end of the month. So whatever that stock was at the close, they had to pony up and pay all that money.
Yeah, we've all seen Trading Places.
That's why all these hedge funds were loaning money to each other. And a lot of money.
Why? Belly up to the bar and pony up for the thing, and yeah, I don't know. All I can do is that every one of his analogies is overweight.
Should the stock market,
Big question. Should it what? Should tell us, Glenn.
do something about this?
It's up to him to ask the tough questions.
You know, Elizabeth Warren is calling for an investigation. Now, you would think Elizabeth Warren would be on the side of, still anybody? Elizabeth Warren, she's on the side of
Her Native American heritage?
the little guy, right?
Oh, I mean the little guy, right.
No, she calls the little guy.
Quick question. Does no one in that studio skip dessert? I mean, I understand we're all putting a little on because it's COVID, but goddamn, like at some point, guys, there needs to be an intervention. Everybody that works there looks like they're edging on type 2 diabetes. It's a mistake. Somebody get an exercise program at that place of work. This is messed up. Seriously, they've gotten bigger as I've been covering this show.
The little guy, right?
Oh, I mean the little guy, right.
No, she calls
And an ironically chosen
the
term.
little guy a flash mob with money. A flash mob with money engaged in internet trading schemes.
Yeah, and you don't know who they are and where their money is coming from and whether it was all legit purchases or if it was a way to upend the market. Because now that you know that a Reddit group can do this kind of thing, then foreign actors, money launderers, and all these other folks are going to now take advantage and watch it and use it as a way of changing assets. You could get around the Magnitsky Act if you figured out a way to manipulate this. You could fake one and start it your own. You could start a fake Wall Street Bets Reddit and post through it and game the market. You're goddamn right there needs to be one. It's not about the legitimacy of what these people were seeking. It's about how easy it was to do.
Market manipulation.
I can't believe they
Right. From both ends.
don't love this story, right? Like you're just taking down very wealthy people. You'd think they'd love it, but look, they what they want in the long term is more control. So
That's what it is. It's control. Yeah. I don't know why they keep wanting their hands on the wheels of the car they're responsible for.
saying they think this is a great system where people can go do these things even if they're small, that doesn't help them grab more control.
No,
of this
it
market.
allows them to say this market, that we shouldn't have a stock market like this. We should
That's what they're saying.
not have a stock market like this. This stock market is
Yes, there shouldn't be a stock market wherein you can sell 40% more shares than are actually released by the company. Who in their right mind, Glenn Beck and lumberjack flunky, who in their right mind would invest in any stocks if that's how the stock market was set up? Think about it for a second.
making people poor. This stock market is, and then it gives them full control of the stock market. This is actually playing into their hands. And if it was the little guy being raped, they would be doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least some of them.
No, excuse me. We would, of course, rely on Jim Jordan to witness what happened and tell us about the little guy. What happened to the little guy? I don't think he saw it.
Would be. By the way, Hollywood is already cashing in on this. They've already opted for a script. How did you write it last week?
What? They didn't. They optioned the idea.
Need to tell this story though in its full detail.
Yeah, tell us the details. What is it? Yeah, he brought it. He loves this story, and Glenn was like, "This will fill it out." But as long as I get to tell my big 10-car analogy.
Last week, Ben Mesrick is like one of my favorite writers, my favorite authors. He did The Social Network most famously,
right?
Which was the Facebook story that
which was written years too early,
turned into a movie.
Right.
Also, the movie 21 about the MIT guys that figured out a way to beat blackjack. This is his beat, man. Like
if those of you who don't know, the MIT guys figured out how to beat Jack Black and released their own Tenacious D album, and all the Tenacious D albums since Pick Up Destiny have all been MIT and AI.
He wrote a book called Ugly Americans, which was about how a bunch of traders went over and raided the Asian markets and figured out a way. He writes this story so well. He's the guy to do this. So last week I tweeted.
He totally is the guy to write Confessions of an Economic Hitman, the sequel years after when that book did very poorly because no one was paying attention.
I was like, I want to be the first to formally request a Ben Mesrick book on the GameStop saga. He liked the tweet. 2 days later, he is now he hasn't even sold the book yet. But he's already sold the movie from the book that he will be writing, and he will write this book better than anybody. I mean, this is the guy to write this thing.
So will they?
Well, dude, why are you complaining? Why they started this? Okay, goddammit. They started this whole stupid thing with him slamming like Hollywood's already figured out a way to cash in on this. And then he flipped to him going, this guy's one of my favorite writers. He did The Social Network, which was obviously written about Facebook before the full story was told, and it's kind of he did 21 and all these stories. Love this guy. He writes about this kind of stuff, and he's already sold the rights to the movie that he's going to write because he writes movie scripts. Jesus Christ, he pitched it and he sold it. There's going to be a corresponding book, and he's for it. This asshole is for it. But Glenn started this whole thing that Hollywood, the elites in Hollywood have figured out a way to get a little scritchy scratch.
Will the people be the enemy?
I don't think so. I think he's going to
I don't think so. I think he's going to do a great job with it.
These guys.
That's great.
He's really good at telling the story of it. He did another story called, I think it was called Straight Flush, the book was, about these college guys that built a giant online poker empire during the kind of the poker phenomenon from a decade ago or so, and
he's got a history of writing these kind of books and movies so that publishing houses and movie studios trust that he's going to turn in a quality product based on a pitch. And he writes about real things that happened, so he doesn't need to come in and pitch it. It's not a high concept alien story. He's like, that thing that happened the other day? I talked to some people. I can write a really good script about it. Sweet, you're the man.
He covers them in their full nuance. Sometimes.
What does the elites mean? It means the educated people on the other side, no matter who says it.
They're really good characters. Sometimes they did a lot of shady things.
By the way, in terms of Republicans, the elites means Democrats, even though all the elites, the people who bitch about the elites, like Ted Cruz, went to Harvard.
And he goes through all of that.
Which is the very definition of being an elite in America.
But I think he'll cover. I will be surprised if there's anything other than covering it fairly. He's not going to be on this I'm cheering on the hedge funds. I don't think that's going to be his take.
So here's the interesting thing. When Hollywood.
This is okay. Good. Finally, we're getting to the interesting thing.
Did the movie The Big Short?
Yeah, Michael Lewis is the other guy who writes that story really well.
I actually was cheering on the guy who bet against the markets in 2008. There's nothing wrong with betting against something that you go, this is bogus. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But you should take and swallow the bitter pill if you lose.
Yes.
If you win, great. But if you lose, you shouldn't be able to run to mommy and say, oh, mommy, they're ganging up on me. Well, it's just because you're special. That's why.
Tell them, Glenn. Tell these hedge fund guys what's what.
This is wrong when the government interferes and
No, they didn't interfere like that, Glenn. You're talking out of your ass. There were more stock shares selling around the market than existed in reality. End of story.
starts to make rules. Oh, so you know what? It'd be as wrong as if we all knew how to vote, and then in the middle of
Another great analogy. Please bring us home. And we all know how to vote, and we all have 10 cars to drive to vote, and a train leaves
we
Los
all
Angeles.
knew how to vote, and then in the middle of the game, they decide to change all the rules. It's got to stop.
Thanks, Glenn. Big Blaze logo. Bill O'Reilly is frustrated with teachers' unions. This is what we deal with. Blacklisted by the left. The blacklists have begun. Mommy blogger. Furious. Parents furious that well-known mommy blogger. What, stormed the Capitol? Yeah. So, honest to God, like, it's hard to even know where to take, like... There's so much nuttiness right now. We're overwhelmed. So just to set a little, just establish a baseline as far as history goes. Bill, who's, now gone full Trumper on Fox, I think used to be either on, it was on Good Morning America, I think it was, or Today Show. I did all of those kind of things. And I did a thing about the Oscars, and he was one of the hosts or whatever. He was just kind of like your run-of-the-mill Ken doll, talking about, like morning TV anchor kind of position or sideline anchor thing or whatever. And a relatively normal dude. And then, I guess just to get their spot on Fox News, you got to be willing to go like full Q super Trumper, right? And he did, man. He's selling it. And so it's not surprising that, he became what he became at Fox, because there is no other option there. That said, can I just say that what the shit is up with Fox News desk right now? This stuff. It looks like InfoWars. InfoWars looks like this. This is just piles of paper and BS. Do their teleprompters not work, or they just not trust anybody? Yeah, you have to be over the top nuts, Mark. Absolutely, to do this. And thank you, Beth. Sounds like too much work to pay back the $10, right? And thank you, Heather. Poor Glenn must have lost money and has no job. He definitely lost on the GameStop thing. He definitely bailed early. I think he probably, what do you think over under is he bailed when it hit $80? What a loser, right? Anyways, so
we have a great guest on this.
Yes,
Joining us now.
Yeah, we do. Great guest.
He's Larry Kudlow, former director of the National Economic Council, who's making his Fox News debut today. Larry, it's great to have you.
His debut? Oh, is he now a paid contributor because he's one of the few people in the Trump administration that he went and got his old job back?
You here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I wanted to start off with a question.
They said there would be bourbon.
About what's it like on the other side of your time of the White House. I know it takes a long time, believe me, I remember, to sort of rest and recover and feel restored and ready to go. How are you doing?
Yeah, there's really a decompression. You don't want to get the bends, Larry.
Well, I feel restored and ready to go. How's that? Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for having me in the Fox family. It's a wonderful opportunity. I look forward to it.
I'm glad I was hired to pretend that the Trump years were normal and that I can come on here and pay for the legal issues that I have.
Energized. I can't wait to go. I couldn't think of a better pair to begin than Bill Hemmer.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice.
And Dana Perino, two old friends of mine.
Thank you.
You're kind.
And I hope we get to
That's very sweet. It's lovely. It's almost as if you used to work at Fox.
talking to this $2 trillion package, which doesn't make much
Let's do
sense to
that.
me.
Okay,
But anyway, I feel great.
Why would it make sense to you? You scuttled it.
I played indoor tennis yesterday.
Very good.
We've taken some time off. Judy and I, we're all right. Everything's good.
Larry, welcome, and we're going to have
Some indoor tennis. You know how we all do? That's the thing. I think we've all just like, if I could only decompress by playing some indoor tennis.
many times to talk in the future. 2 bits of sound from Sunday. First, Jared Bernstein with Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday. Watch.
Look, the American people really couldn't care less about budget process, whether it's regular order, bipartisanship, whether it's filibuster, whether it's reconciliation. They need relief, and they need it now. So the urgency here.
Let me just cut the middle out of it because let's notice that the Fox News crowd cut out the part where he was talking about how people are getting their utilities shut off. People are experiencing food shortages that are affecting like 1 in 4 kids in the country. It's growing to 1 in 3. Like cut that part out. Cut that part out and shove these two things together, right?
Is the cost of inaction. And the plan is scaled to finally meet the challenge.
Okay, so there is the message on Fox. Here, Larry, is the message on CBS. This is Cedric Richmond, a White House advisor. Watch.
If you think of all the frontline workers that are out there risking their lives every day, they shouldn't have to work 2 jobs just to make a living wage and live above the poverty line. Look, the other people want to argue process. We want to argue purpose in moving this country forward.
So they were arguing the same thing. American people care
Thank you, Grace.
about progress and not the process. How's that process going to go, do you think?
What? Oh, prognosticating. Larry, tell us. You've always been right. Keep up your, come on, bat 1,000.
Well, I think, my friend Jared Bernstein, good man. We disagree on some things, but he's a friend. I think he's right. I don't think the issue here is about process or reconciliation, which needs only 51 votes. Republicans have used that tool in the past. I think it's about policy, however. I mean, look, let's take one thing that has nothing to do with anything as far as COVID is concerned, and that's raising the national minimum wage. You know who that's going to hurt the most? That's going to hurt
Who?
African Americans, Hispanics, other minority groups. It's going to hurt the poorest part of the world.
Yeah, because you give them, you go and take the industries where they make the least, and you start adding some extra money to that. Can you imagine all like black people and Hispanic people, especially in impoverished areas, getting 15 instead of $7.50 an hour for the work that they're doing? That they're going to lose that character building exercise of having to choose between bills.
Workforce, because once you get outside of, let's say, New York and California, maybe Illinois, the cost of living is much lower in all these states and these small businesses that are desperately trying to.
Yeah, but it's also caught up. $15 an hour isn't going to provide you with a space to live in New York City or in LA or San Francisco, for that matter.
Reopen, they can't afford it, and therefore they're going to lay off workers. I mean, I love a maximum wage. I think you ought to grow the economy with low taxes and regulations and so forth. And
a maximum wage. I agree. I think everybody at Fox News should work for $35 an hour.
that'll get everybody a job, and that'll get them up to maximum minimum wage. But federal legislation.
A maximum minimum wage? A maximum minimum wage. What kind of shit?
Never works. It costs jobs. It damages those who need them the most.
Excuse me one moment. Now, if you look, here's the stories on the minimum wage. Biden Democrats hit gas on push for $15 minimum wage. Map shows where in the U.S. $15 minimum wage would be the most impactful. Rep. Ashley Hinson does not support $15 minimum wage. Will hurt Iowa's economy. 35 minutes ago. These are the three top stories that show up in my feed. PBS, Biden Democrats hit the gas. EPI, why the U.S. needs $15 minimum wage. Bloomberg, Biden urges more than doubling the minimum wage to $15. Inc.com is a little wary. Beware the consequences of a $15 minimum wage. You mean the lowering of profits? And yeah. So this one, like the CNBC one, I want to see if they actually have a physical map of it up there. Right now it's 725. And this would, by the way, raise it to 2025, raise it to 15 by 2025. This is a graduated way of making this happen, just for the record. So, what is this guy? What are you doing? Wireless connection 2 week for your Apple. Okay, all right. My other computer got weird for a second. There you go. Don't go to sleep on me. Opponents of $15 argue that businesses will not be able to afford the higher base pay. Research finds that federal legislation to raise the minimum wage to $15 per household would result in the loss of 2 million jobs. That's what they're saying. That's the argument they're making. Food service, art, entertainment, and recreation and accommodation sectors would account for half of those projected job losses. Yet, advocates argue the increase is needed because wages are simply not keeping up with day-to-day costs, which is the primary issue of it. This whole, like, we're going to have to fire one person per person who gets this boost idea, which is, and these are the, impact of raising the minimum wage $15 by 2025 by state, district, number of workers affected, share of the workers affected. California, not applicable because it already is there. Texas, 181,000 workers affected, 50% of that workforce. 33, District 33, there you go. Blah, blah. This is the breakdown of it. But it's basically about service workers. And it has all sorts of, and even with the, let's see if they have the, here's the actual, let's see, where's the text of it? There we go. Here you go. Short title. This act may be cited as the Raise the Wage Act of 2021. Except otherwise provided in this section, not less than $9.50 an hour beginning on the effective date under Section 7 Act of the 2021. $11 an hour beginning 1 year after such effective date. $12.50 an hour beginning 2 years. $14. See how that works? Wait, back up. What are you doing? Yeah, I flip back. So it is a graduated thing. This is how the rates, okay? This is how, and by the way, this cited, by the way, as a massive progressive push to make this happen is precisely what Hillary Clinton was offering, only she was actually moving to the $12.50 an hour right away. This is less progressive than what Hillary Clinton was offering when everybody on the progressive left was saying that Hillary is leaving everyone out of, and is denying the $15 an hour minimum wage. Her plan started off, and one of the reasons why her candidacy was attacked as harshly as it was from the right was because she started at the $12.50 break. Yeah. And yes, Biden actually broke this down, like how could you incrementally address this in a very short order of time? So within 4 years, you've got $15 an hour. But everybody graduates into this, so you're going from the 725 or whatever to 950, which is a big leap and changes a lot of people's lives over the course of the year. It doesn't seem like much, but it adds up. Then 11 a year later, then 1250, then $14. And by the way, everybody on top of that, if you're making, more than that because of that, you can argue for a raise because you're getting, as the base pay rises, so should yours if you're doing more work or more skilled labor, than the job below you, for example. Beginning on this date that is 5 years after such effective date, the annual thereafter the amount determined by the secretary under subsection H. So there's they allow for, by the way, that the labor secretary can up the minimum wage afterwards. It can fluctuate. If it was a total loss and all jobs are being scuttled and stuff, they can tamp it down from the 15 back down to 14 or something and move it around a little bit. If it affects people getting hired, if it affects jobs. And again, this goes towards like the Paris Climate Agreement. Listen to how these assholes are talking about this. Hi, Colette. Seriously, think about how Bremer and all these dickheads are talking about this nonsense. Where are they? Oh, God, help us. Oh, Lord. Oh, help. Is it this one? Yeah.
And it's a terrible idea. You want to do it at the state level? Let the states parcel through that. I probably might not like it, but nonetheless, it should at least be a state level. Regionally, you can't do it by nationwide diktat. The other point I want to make is, I think one of you made it.
Dictate, I think.
We don't even know how much money has been spent or not spent from the prior packages. That's the odd thing.
Oh, really? Really? Why don't we know that, Larry? Why don't we know? What are you gonna act like you weren't frigging there? Thank you for resubscribing, Narg. Appreciate that. You ran it, you dickhead.
About this, there is no accounting. I've seen no numbers. I've been checking around with all my contacts.
All of them? Did you call Jared?
From the March
How about Steve Mnuchin?
CARES bill that was repurposed in December. We don't know how much has gone to the PPP, Small Business Initiative. We don't know how much is out the door on the unemployment assistance.
Listen to this asshole acting like Biden made these decisions last year.
We don't know how much has gone to the states and localities. We should be assessing the economy before we dive into another $2 trillion package, which I must say is something of a Democratic wish list. So those are some of the biggest problems. I want to talk about the economy, by the way, because
as a Democrat, on my wish list is the entire country not falling into a depression. That is on my wish list, I have to admit.
We are still in a V-shaped recovery. The economy is very strong.
No, we're not.
I read about this economic crisis.
We're in a K. He knows it. He's benefiting from it. Ask him and his indoor tennis wife.
I don't believe it, and I can prove to you that it's not there.
But it is acute for some people, and that's one of the problems that the Republicans seem to have with the administration's approach, which is at the huge the multiple trillions of dollars that they want to spend, it's very broad brush, and instead of being very targeted to individuals that actually need it, people who've lost their businesses, restaurant owners, things like that.
Really? $1.9 trillion package? You don't think there's parts of that are targeted specifically to small businesses? You think it's just how do you think they wrote this? Do you think Larry wrote it? Is that what you think, Dana? Is that what you think? You think Larry wrote it with a fucking crayon and like $1.9 million? Sorry, I spilled scotch on it. Get that out there. Rubber stamp that crap.
And the other point I wanted to ask you about.
I know I don't like to divert this late in the show, you guys, and I appreciate all the support. Thank you for the stars today. Everybody's being really nice over on Facebook as well. Bless you for that. We've got 3,000 stars today. That was really nice of you guys. I appreciate it. Let me look something up real quick. Okay, Biden 1.8 trillion package. Okay. Let me find, if I can find the document and see what they are presenting to you and the thing. There you go. Let's see. Let's get past here. Okay, here we go. So, new stimulus bill showdown: $1,000 check, everything else in $600. This is what the Republicans put. This is CNET's own argument. President Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion economic stimulus and relief package would include $1,400 checks. Moderate Republicans want $600 billion and $1,000 payments. Here's how they compare. Let's see. On this is the coronavirus relief proposal. Is that theirs? Yeah. Yeah, this is theirs. To the president. Mr. President, we really think you've learned your lesson about this kind of thing. Okay. And here's, let's see. A group of, why do they never present? And why does it link back to their own thing? There it is. Okay, that's, and then they go to the video. This is very telling. Inc. Let's see. Outlining his economic relief plan, the president-elect said that we will finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in cash relief to people who need it the most, saying the $600 people had already received was not enough. Also included in his proposal was extended unemployment insurance, rent relief, food assistance, keeping essential frontline workers on the job, and aid to small businesses. I think that would qualify by most people's standards. If you'll excuse me for being so bold, including a raising of the minimum wage in a tiered, progressive way. And you know what I would even use to my dear progressive friends out there? I would use the term incremental. Drafted, by the way, by progressives in the House. An incremental approach to getting to $15 an hour. A steady, assured, well thought out plan to accomplish the goal as opposed to scream it and then run away. Yeah. So, hold on. I'm going to go here. Where are we? No, not the, okay.
Is that Chuck Schumer, the Democratic majority leader in the Senate,
you sure?
He said the Republicans' proposal is a no-go for him because there's no state and local money in it. That was a big sore point, I know, earlier on last year. Tell me about those two.
Yeah, because they were screwing blue states and blue cities and large population centers because they weren't showing sufficient fealty to the president. Yes, Grant.
Well, look
Hello.
at as far as I can tell, the White House package or the Schumer-Pelosi package has about $365 billion for states and localities. You know, they have already received hundreds of billions of dollars. And you really have to ask yourself, do they?
In what? I mean, you seem to know where that money went or if it went out, but you don't know where the PPP stuff went to?
Need that kind of money, and how has the accounting for the prior assistance been made? Again, what assistance? There was no state and local municipality assistance. Spent and unspent. I don't think that number's nearly enough. By the way, state revenues across the country, including...
Wait, hold. What did he just say?
Was the accounting for the prior assistance been made? Again, what is spent and unspent? I don't think that number's nearly enough. By the way, state revenues across the country, including places like New York and California, are actually rising, not falling, because...
Yeah, they're rising because they were in the toilet. What? Anything that's in a goddamn hole is rising once it's... Jesus Christ.
The economy is much stronger.
First of all, it wasn't enough money. He admits that.
Suggesting.
And then
so I think that's a very key point. Look, I'm okay with strictly...
No, you're not. You're not okay, Larry.
Targeted funding, particularly for health, vaccination, and school openings, okay? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, everybody else should die.
I'm not okay with...
You're not okay in general. I mean, none of you look okay. And she's starting to really lose it. Like, I think she's downwind from your aftershave.
Spending stimulus checks, sending out and spending stimulus checks on 1 penny or 2 penny stocks, which is what's been happening with this incredible story of GameStop and other some.
Excuse me, GameStop is not a penny stock. It never was. GameStop wasn't a penny. What kind of jackass? This is, you can tell how rich this dude has been and for how long. GameStop's not a friggin' penny stock, you dick.
These penny stocks. That's so silly. Any money given out.
And by the way, if you could invest in penny stocks off of what's left over of your stimulus package after you check, if you got it, after you paid your gas and electric bill and staved off eviction, and you're like, I got $5 and a Robinhood account. What penny stocks can I put that $5 in, hoping it turns into $25 in 3 years so I can buy myself lunch?
Should be strictly
penny
targeted
stocks
to the lowest end, and I'd like to see what the prior legislation accomplishes. Let's have an accounting. Let's know where that money.
Yeah, you know what? We need to audit the Biden administration's handling of the money that Trump spent. What the hell?
Portman said there's
and one last point.
Go ahead.
Hang on, Bill. Let me. I got to make this one point. I'm sorry to interrupt. I understand. I heard a story.
You don't have a show yet, Larry.
I think it's true. You can check me out on this. Teachers in Northern Virginia received the vaccinations, and they still, because of the teachers union, refuse to reopen the schools and go back to school. Now that is nutty.
That's because it wasn't statewide, stupid. Because some teachers don't get to go back when others don't.
And what I'm saying is a lot of this spending money is going to Democratic interest groups. It is not going to the general health and welfare of the country.
If it was going to Democratic interest groups, then they wouldn't have gotten the vaccine. What are you the Northern Virginia Teachers Union is a Democratic interest group?
It is not going towards COVID. Vaccination money, fine. Legitimate school opening money, fine. Giving out stimulus checks so people can buy penny stocks, not fine, not good.
Boilermakers with a hint of fruit, not fine. Not fine, okay? They're too delicious. I'm 4 in before I even find the bottom of the glass. It's ridiculous. When I say Scotch neat, I mean you give me a bottle of Scotch and wipe the vomit off my shirt. When I say Scotch on the rocks, that is code for the old lady's giving me the heave-ho and I need some Scotch.
I think Rob Portman said up of $900 billion hasn't been spent yet. So that's the number that's been out there. Fair point. We really don't know what it is. Keystone.
Really? Why don't we know? Who was managing that first package? Who was in charge of, what's the word? Administration, something like that. Mineral rights, admin. Who was the admin on the website where they doled out the dollars?
Decision. I know you don't like it. I wonder what the practical.
Here's Bill, Larry, Dana. If I may, a slight rephrasing that I would like to suggest. Not that we don't know where 900 million or how much of it was spent or what it was. We don't. I'm not going to buy that, since one of the people on the panel was actually in charge of the doling out of that money. I'm going to go with it's missing. I'm going to go with under Steve Mnuchin and Donald John Trump and Larry Kudlow, $900 billion of relief are unaccounted for and currently missing. How about that? Prove me wrong.
The effect of that is over the next 4 years or 4 years plus, China engagement. You had a strategy. What's theirs?
What's the Chinese strategy for engagement right now with the rest of the world who wants product from them but doesn't want to go there?
Well, look on the Keystone. And no drilling, no fracking on federal lands, no leasing and drilling and so forth, and the Paris Climate Agreement. What you're getting is the first policies of the new administration, which will come down very heavily on energy. We are energy independent thanks to President Trump.
Keystone Pipeline is Canadian shale oil, has nothing to do with our how much oil and gas we're producing. Currently, we are not getting anything out of ANWR. There is none of the stuff that's going to market is from there. So we're already energy independent. Why do we need the extra amount? There are no new fracking leases on public lands. If you want to buy the land privately and frack the shit out of it, you still have to go through a safety process, but you can do it. But since those profits on public lands aren't shared equally with the American people, kiss my ass.
Trump's actions, pipelines, infrastructure, drilling.
Yeah, why did you say pipelines twice?
Fracking. We've stopped import.
I mean, look at that. Look at all that unused pipe.
Foreign oil. We are stronger at home and abroad because of it. The Biden administration.
We're stronger and at home and abroad if we stop using fossil fuels altogether and we lead on the technology to create that kind of fuel source.
Looks in the early going to want to roll that back and will have decimating, terrible impacts on the economy. Keystone itself has been variously estimated at 10 or 12,000 jobs lost, but it's just
temp jobs. They're temp jobs. At the end of the Keystone Pipeline, 35 jobs. 35, 35. Not 10,000, not 15,000, not 35,000. 35. The Keystone Pipeline is basically one of those like lawn sprayers where you poke holes in the hose to irrigate your lawn, but with Canadian shale oil.
Just going to build from there. I do not think we are in any.
Those guys are mad. We were gonna look at the nice hole we made, and now we can't even pipeline through here. I feel like storming the Capitol.
Kind of environmental or global.
This is like it's a bunch of incels meeting with Gary, and Gary's like, "Let me tell you what it's like to have a wife, boys. You don't know how lucky you are."
Global warming crisis. We could talk about that some other time. The data do not.
Yeah. After. It's not like it's a crisis.
Show that this has just become kind of a religion or a left-wing mantra. It's not there. On China policy, Bill.
Yeah, just a little climate denial bomb. Just drop that right in between Dana and Hemmer.
I see ambiguity here, okay? I see ambiguity. First of all, some of the people speaking out on China have said that we will continue to be tough on China, that President Trump's policies, former President Trump's policies, will not be repealed regarding so-called tough on China. The Phase 1 trade deal is moving ahead. We left tariffs on to police that deal. I don't know how that's going to be disposed. Some of the cabinet appointees have been.
Well, the thought would be is that if it works, if it was actually a good deal and it functions, you can remove the tariffs as long as they're behaving within the confines of the deal. If the deal was poorly crafted and shitty, then that means the tariffs have to stay on. So the longer the tariffs stay on, the shittier the deal that was brokered.
Been less than clear about keeping Huawei out of the United States, the telephone.
No, they haven't.
Phone company, which we have banned. It's on the so-called export ban list or the blacklist. That's important to keep. So
the export ban list or blacklist? Huawei is an import of technology.
So I've heard some good things about China.
Hello, Australia.
Policy.
I've always wanted to come down to Tasmania. I really have. I've got no idea, like, why. Like, I don't know if it's a place. Do people do shows down there? I don't know.
And I've heard some ambiguous things. We don't exactly know yet. We must stand tall with China. They are a competitor, but I think increasingly they are an enemy of the United States, particularly regarding national security. And we must protect the crown jewels of technology.
Okay, the crown jewels of technology are, according to Larry Kudlow.
That was the thrust of President Trump's China policy. That's what Lighthizer and I and Mnuchin worked on. The crown, and Wilbur Ross, the crown jewels of our policy must protect new technological advances, which is the heart of the creative destruction economy. It is the heart of making
the heart of the creative destruction economy. Okay, guys, has anybody heard that phrase before? Is that a brand new phrase? Is that the creative destruction economy? Jesus Christ. Who is... Can you imagine them coming out and going, this is what we refer to as the creative destruction economy.
America, the fastest growing.
Can I ask you one last question here?
Yeah, which means goodbye.
Obviously, you loved your time at the White House. You love your...
You could tell by the fact that you have some fullness in your cheeks and you were looking gaunt and awful. So you were drinking and not eating while you're in the White House. Now you're drinking and eating now that you're at Fox News.
Life. You love it. I want to know what you have for breakfast in the morning because I want to try to replicate it. But I also ask this. Is there something that was left undone, something that you didn't have a chance to finish during the Trump administration that you wish you would have had a chance to do?
Hold on. Somebody actually said it in there as a phrase, and I'm curious about this. Definition of creative destruction. This refers to the process of how capitalism leads to... Damn it. This is why I want to pause. Hold on. Process leads to constantly changing structure of the economy. Creative destruction means that the company... Oh, God damn it. It always scrolls forward. It's so aggravating. Creative destruction means the company closures and job... losses are good for the long-term well-being of the company. It's seen from both a negative and positive perspective. Yeah. Structuring it based on that end, like I've never seen him refer to it, capitalism is plunderism. No, it isn't. Because not all capital is created through resource. Resource capitalism, Shamar, you could argue is plunderism. But even then, is farming plunderism?
Well, look.
Is construction plunderism?
Yes, of course, on policies. And by the way, I think while I may disagree with President Trump's, behavior in the last couple of months, I think in policy terms, he
had a great policy of destroying our democracy.
Brilliant, consequential president. We could have gone further, Dana, on tax reduction and reform, pro-growth tax reduction and reform.
Gee, that's weird that Larry Kudlow would be for pro-growth tax reduction.
Because our tax cuts help those who needed it the most. It was the middle and lower end. We could have gone further on deregulation, in my judgment. We went across the board, but I still...
Yeah, there's too many of those leftover things from 2008 about credit default swaps. Really hits his buddies in the pocketbook.
I think there was unfinished work to do. We made great
Ford cream of wheat
progress on 5G, all the telephone connections, ultra-fast telephone connections, which we spearheaded at NEC. But we could have gone further. We made great progress there.
Yeah, you can't say 5G in front of Bill because he's in a Facebook group that believes that that the vaccine and 5G cause people to lose the God gene.
I would have liked to have had more opportunities. There are a number of areas of
frankly,
unfinished work.
You got
no
a lot
question.
done, too. You mentioned the last couple of months. When was the last time you talked to President Trump?
Yeah, tell us. What was he like? Does his breath still smell of fish delight?
I spoke to him on the Thursday before the inauguration. We had a lovely, 20-minute chat. He was
like, did you see the cop who got beat to death? That was so cool. I'm like, yeah, it's lovely.
Very gracious. He was very kind. He was very complimentary. We talked mostly about...
And then I realized he thought he was talking to someone else.
About our achievements as an administration in the policy areas that I mentioned and then some. He was much calmer at that point.
Did you talk about the events?
Some great
Did you
videos.
Talk about the events of January 6th, Larry?
No, we did not. We did not. I think the president knew my view. He put out some very good videos abhorring violence towards the very end.
Oh, I see. Abhorring violence. We love you. You're very special.
I wish he had done that 2 months earlier and stayed with that. I've always felt, Bill,
that this is going to screw my career.
That when the Electoral College voted Mr. Biden as president-elect, President Trump would have been better advised.
You want me to do an all-woman show where all the clips that I make fun of are all the like female guests? Like,
to talk about his great policy achievements in foreign policy, the Middle East, for example, China, and in economic policy. We were having a gangbuster.
You mean all the stuff the Heritage Foundation handed to him that he didn't understand?
Recovery. Even now, we are in a V-shaped recovery while this pandemic continues to play out. I would have preferred that.
Hold on. What about Karl Marx? What? Karl Marx also used the N-word a lot. So,
and
again, this applies to Karl Marx, and this also applies to the bullshit that Kudlow is spewing most of the time. Let me make something very clear. The economic descriptors that we're using regularly, whether it's socialism, capitalism, whatever your functional version of an economic strategy, from free markets to fair markets to all that, all the philosophies around what those are and how they were built, were all crafted when there were less than 2 billion people on the entire planet. And there was no internet. And there was no international travel to speak of. You know, it took weeks. So every standard about what they mean and how you, establish an economy is based on ideas about war that are sort of along the lines of the Second Amendment and flintlock and muzzle-loading rifles. You understand? There was no international banking when they came up with the idea of capitalism and socialism per se. They were just talking about kings often owned the land. Landowners and monarchies and theocracies had defined things, and capitalism was an upstart at the time.
I think at some point the Republican Party needs to think.
Why does I feel like Dana's just staring at us, and no matter what I do, Bill's never going to understand me.
About really saying from these crazy far-right groups, just as these crazy far-left groups, both.
Yeah, they're the same. Basically, I mean, the Squad and AOC are the exact same as, Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that Jewish space lasers started the California wildfires. When hasn't AOC said something similar?
Or to just say, we don't want your type. We do not. I remember my dear great friend and mentor, the late William F. Buckley. He threw out the John Birch.
I threw out the John Birch Society. These kind of people sitting around there. John Birch Society are not welcome here in any way, shape, or form, and this is kind of how we do this. Now, I have had many conversations with friends who disagree with me in many ways, but my new friend Larry Kudlow, Little Larry we call him over there, is the kind of fellow that we all aspire to be one day. Larry came to me and he said, I don't want to be like these John Birch Society folks. My dream, Little Larry told me, is to grow up and look as much like the alien, the Nazi whose face melts in Raiders of the Lost Ark as humanly possible. The one with the burnt hand, not the older blonde fellow who looks like Ed Begley Jr. took a left turn.
Birch Society in the 1950s. He just threw him out through his magazine, National Review. And
I'm throwing these people out. They need to be thrown out immediately. We're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior around here or whatever. As a matter of fact, I'm going to write a fiery article about that this afternoon. Larry, why aren't you getting me coffee? This is what we care.
The Republican Party followed suit.
Where's Rudy? Rudy has to retract his statement about we're going to have Rudy probably on Wednesday because he's got to retract his statement about the Lincoln Project by then or he's going to get sued.
Because there were extreme, crazed, anti-Semitic, and so forth. There was no room in the GOP. Yeah. I would like to see.
Yeah, except there is. Thanks so much, Larry Kudlow, for being with us today. This is my serious face, where I pretend to give a shit.
President Trump and other spokespeople throw out some of these crazy groups, and I think Democrats should throw them out on the left wing as well. But President Trump...
Yeah, good point, Larry. You know, guys, I think it's time that we on the Democratic side of the aisle throw out the armed militias, anti-vaxxers, and QAnon folks out of our ranks. I mean, it's about time. We've fooled around long enough.
Policy achievements. He will go down in history for that. And my guess
yes, he will go down in history for what happened on the 6th.
Is we have not heard the last from him on a number of things.
Larry, we have a lot to talk about.
Larry, we're really excited about having you on here. We can't wait to talk to you more and have you interrupt Dana more, because I know I love watching that, right, Dana? Shh.
Well, thank you for the time today, but
I can't wait till you come on here with us, and Dana can sit in the middle in a short skirt while we have these low cameras and these glass tables around here. You know how we love to do that.
We're out of time. To be continued.
Larry, we would love to keep talking to you, but we're just frankly not interested. And thanks for... There you
Continued.
go.
Look out for Perino. She's a tough one, okay? Welcome to the Fox family.
Welcome, Larry.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Great to be here. Appreciate it.
Great to
Winter storm alert. Okay, so... No, we don't need to go to...
Ladies and gentlemen.
No, stop. That's not what... ladies and gentlemen, this is, let's see, let me find, we're going to end on this because I don't have time for, I had so many clips today, it's just dumb. Like the amount of stuff that's available. That was the developing story. Where is it? Oh, yeah. So our old friends, Diamond and Silk, are back. We don't have to do this whole thing because it'll just be... But the title of this one is Jim Crow Joe Build Back Backwards. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I can't wait. So this is... So Joe Biden is apparently setting out... Yes, I should turn the volume down once the video starts playing, just to make sure you guys aren't blown out of your chairs. Joe Biden is apparently going to reinstate redlining, I guess? Is that what we're doing?
As well, but before we jump into it,
Yes.
I just have something I need to say.
Go ahead.
Okay. You know, President Trump, he formally opened the office of the former president. And of course, I think it should be called the office of the greatest president.
Love it.
You know, the office will be
Love it.
responsible for managing president.
The office of the greatest president. I am going to side with Diamond and Silk right here, specifically Silk. And say that if he knew anything about branding the way he's supposed to be a master branding, that's what he would do. Although all presidents open up an office of the former president, you get money to be able to do it.
President Trump's correspondence, public statements, appearances, and official activities to advance the interests of the United States and to carry on the agenda of the Trump administration through advocacy, organizing, and public activism.
Oh, you mean they took the statement put out by President Obama when he formed his office of the former president, just like George Bush formed his office of the former president, and George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton and Ronald Reagan formed their office of the former president, and say basically the exact same thing?
President Trump will always and forever...
Oh, it's nice. They got a hand job shot.
...be a champion for the American people.
Oh, God. And right now, Silk, we truly need a champion.
Oh, my God.
Because
Oh, right now. It's horrifying. Please, yes, Diamond and Silk, please tell us how horrifying it is.
you know what? I don't like the way things are going right now.
What? Hold on. Your dude lost horribly, embarrassingly, led an insurrection onto the Capitol that killed people, and still couldn't stop Joe Biden from becoming president. And you're telling me you don't like it? What?
No. Especially if you have Biden's Build Back Better, it's starting to look more like Build Back Backwards.
Yeah, things are...
I like this phrase. Let's hear it. Why is it build back backwards?
Going backwards.
Yeah.
Almost sort of reminds me of the Jim Crow day. But guess
How old are they? I mean, I realize it allegedly doesn't crack, but
what?
What?
We didn't live
What?
through the Jim Crow era.
No, we didn't.
That's what I thought. Okay, good. You know, at least my age-R isn't totally off.
Did, Daddy did, Grandma did, Grandpa did.
Oh, and guess who else did?
Who?
Jim Crow Joe did.
And Joe Biden did. That's how he know how to put this stuff in place
That's
to
right.
take us all the way
All
backwards.
the way back.
Tell us how we're going all the way back. Jim Crow Joe. I'm surprised they didn't. Are they really sisters? I don't know. I don't think. Honestly, I don't care.
Talk about his Build Back Better plan. Listen, he wants to undo President Trump's regulatory approval process, making it harder is what it's going to do business is what it's going to do. People won't be able to open up business because of more red tape and regulations.
I mean, if anything defines Jim Crow, it's the amount of red tape. Because I think every civil rights activist since the mid-'60s has, as they walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and as they, held the line at places, I think most of us were deafened when we watched the Ferguson riots where people were screaming about the amount of regulations
put in place. He wants to halt the construction border wall, terminating the National Emergency Declaration used to fund it, He wants to
he already did it. That already happened.
to undo President Trump enforcement within the United States. So that means illegal aliens can cross our borders and run rapid.
So he wants to do President Trump's immigration enforcement.
He wants to undo it.
I'm still waiting for the Jim Crow Joe stuff. This is what they said last time.
But listen to me. We have immigration laws and rules right here in this country.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
With enforcing our laws that's already on the book.
That's what he's doing. He's enforcing the laws that are already on the books. That's exactly. Did you just see Silk just make the wrong argument?
He don't want to enforce the law. He don't want to follow the law.
No, he wants to follow the law, not the executive order that Trump wrote that manipulates the law. Oh, God.
He want to undo everything that President Trump
Welcome
put in
back,
place
Sasha.
for the safety of America.
So you mean to tell me if Bookie
I mean to tell you.
break the law,
Wait, look at this. Look at the picture. This is Jim Crow Joe's America. Look at these Latin-y looking people, man, holding up red signs, which I think is an ad for the band that opened for the Foo Fighters on the last tour. I'm not sure.
He's going to get in trouble. He's going to get 3 hots and a cop behind a locked cell block. But if an illegal alien break the law, they're going to be okay.
They're going to be okay.
Which laws are we talking about? Simply crossing the border? Seeking asylum? Which is the, oh, God. They are sisters?
The Biden administration.
Thank you guys for doing that due diligence. I wish I cared.
Also, he canceled the Keystone X-Line pipeline.
Yes, the Keystone X-Line pipeline is a no-go.
Eliminating thousands of jobs. So those jobs was making around $30 to $40 an hour.
Wow.
The oil and gas industry, they're probably going to be facing a pay cut. Remember, we became...
There's what? The oil and gas industry are going to get a pay cut? Well, if they work for minimum wage, they won't. Thank God I, as the head of Kingston Oil, will be making more money because of the increase in the minimum wage. I was hurting so bad when they shut down the Keystone Pipeline.
Energy independent up under President Donald J. Trump.
That's right.
We were energy independent under Obama.
He rejoins the Paris Climate Accord, which will cost American taxpayers a lot of money, increase energy costs, and also This will cause America to lose millions of jobs. He rejoins the WHO. Why? Would you rejoin the WHO when the WHO did not tell us the full, honest truth about the coronavirus? When you see what I'm saying, they were supposed to give us vital information. So you want to join this organization, pay them millions of dollars to mislead the United States? And this was the same WHO that threatened President Trump with more body bags.
I remember that.
We'll never forget.
They threatened him with more body bags?
That, okay? He wants to suspend President.
Sorry, what are they referring to? I'm sorry if I don't keep up on all my diamond and silk intel, but good. Thank you, Benny Loco, reminding everybody, threatens Trump with more body bags. What? Oh, because he said more people were going to die? So they're saying he threatened them. So this one, we will have many body bags. World Health Organization chief responds to Trump's criticisms. The head of the World Health Organization today gave an impassioned but indirect rejoinder to recent comments from U.S. President Donald Trump criticizing WHO's handling the coronavirus. Please quarantine. He said, please quarantine politicizing COVID. We will have many body bags in front of us if we don't behave. Yeah, I'm guessing English is his second language, so it's awkward languaging. But he's not going, we're going to put you in a body bag because of this. Good Lord.
President Trump executive order that lowers the insulin and the EpiPens for people. So go ahead, Phil.
So you think he wants to raise the cost of insulin, something that the American people need to live. He wants that cost to be raised?
He wants that cost.
He does? Biden's seeking to raise the price of insulin? He wants it to? He's what?
Cost to be raised. And within a matter of over a week's time, a loss of thousands of jobs, cost American billions in income. He's already killed women's sports. We're no longer going to be energy dependent. You know,
we're not going to be. You're right. We will not be energy dependent.
He broke his own executive order because he put an executive order in place, girl, where in federal buildings you have to wear masks.
Right.
He walks up in a federal building without a mask. You see what I'm talking about?
We see he forgot.
Yeah, He stops the construction of the border wall, and listen, he puts a halt to.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm waiting for the Jim Crow stuff. We've done this. Is this the only thing they do? I swear to God, this is the exact same thing they did the last episode.
And so much more. Listen, but I want to tell you all this here.
Yeah.
He also signed an executive order putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill.
No, she's already. There were plans to put her on the $20 bill. Trump slowed those plans. He reinstigated the plan that was already in place. He just wrote the executive order removing Trump's delay.
But here's the deal.
What's the deal?
Please tell us what the deal is. I don't know. What is this, Jim? We're going back to the Jim Crow era because we have to look at Harriet Tubman's face on money. I don't understand.
Joe Biden, don't try to appease black people by thinking it's okay for you to put a black woman on the $20 bill.
It is not okay. No. Tell him, Diamond. It is what? Oh, thank you. Somebody just became a patron. Thank you so much, Mary. What? Please, good God. I'm sorry, Anthony. We're almost done. This is short.
Because that $20 bill ain't going to do us no good if you are eliminating jobs and people don't even have no money that they can spend a $20 bill because of your doing.
That's right.
So, it's a whole part. That's what it is. It's thank you, Moe. Yeah. So it's part of Biden's. I'm trying to figure this out. It's Biden's plan to put Harriet Tubman on the 20, but leave it out of reach of black people in a diabolical turn, a huge prank on an entire race of people. I'm going to put a black woman on the 20 and then guarantee that no black person ever see anything higher than a 10 ever again.
Please don't think you're doing us a favor. You're not doing us a favor. President Trump wanted to give $500 billion.
Come on, yeah.
In money to communities, to underserved communities. Not a $20 bill with a black woman face. Now, that may be fine and dandy, but how is that going to help underserved people? How is that going to help the black community?
Well, I think certainly being represented as an integral part of our society instead of just isolating who's on our money based on dead presidents is a move in the right direction. Recognizing her value as an abolitionist, for example, might be part. But those, you do realize those are two totally different things, and that aid packages and tax breaks, for example, because we go back to promise zones. You want to talk about Obama's promise zones? Because there's going to be pretty much a revival of those. But I guess if you read about those, you're not going to be able to go,
It appears that somebody from the Biden administration has been listening to us about not signing any type of executive orders for black people. So he decided to do it this past week.
Oh, you mean before you made your video?
And the executive order that he signed is called racial equity. Racial equity.
What, Silk? At this point,
Oh, tell us. I mean, granted, he must have heard about it before you were going to say it, because I pointed out the last time I used a clip from these two, obviously, conspiracy.
I don't want to hear Joe Biden when he talk about racial equity or racial inequality.
Inequality, which is inclusion and equality. Inequality.
Until he can right his wrong for the crime bill he put in place, decimating the black community, until he can stand in front of the American people and apologize for referring to black people as predators.
He didn't do that. That was Hillary Clinton used that phrase. He didn't say that. Are you going to apologize for saying that he said that? Show the clip. You said he said it on the floor. Show a clip.
That's in the floor until he can right his wrong.
Well, how can he apologize? Is he going to apologize for kissing Jill?
I don't want to hear nothing he has to say about equality. He need to go find some equality.
Not equality.
Or some equity.
Equity.
And stop always thinking that black people need a handout. If you cared about black people, there's no way you will write an executive order that will cause the people to abort more black babies.
Wait, I'm sorry. What? Hold on. There was a lot there. They were. That was a lot. I mean, you crowbarred kind of as many of them in there as you possibly could. So you started this rant with Joe Biden isn't signing things for black people. He's not doing anything for black people. And then you pointed out that he did do something, and you alleged that he did it after you spoke, that he actually did before you spoke. And then you're telling him not to even try those things until this magical abort black babies point, which I'm assuming is the idea that abortion affects the black community and it's actually just genocide, and that the pro-lifer storyline, that abortion's just there to limit black population, not because women should have control of their own bodies, regardless of what color they are.
When you care about black people, minorities, you will care about their lives too.
Why are you yelling at me, Diamond? What did I do? All I did was point out that you had 5 points in one and none of them made sense.
That's right.
We'll be right back with more Diamond and Silk Crystal Clear.
Yes, you will. No, you will not. I went way over tonight. Happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for being here. This is going to be a bit of a nutty week because, like I said, Wednesday is when Rudy Giuliani has to respond to the lawsuit against him, and he has to either put up a video retracting what he said about the Lincoln Project founder, or he's going to get sued. He's going to get served with papers. So that part will be fascinating. That's Wednesday. Tomorrow, Richard Hunter and I are doing another episode of the Double Neck Download early in the day. We're going to do it at noon tomorrow. And then I'll have my regular show on. Don't play.
Oh, something was put up.
Don't go away.
How much responsibility do you feel you
there,
have? Subscribe to the alt-right, who
they
as
said
you
that this
say, some of them have
post wasn't
enjoyed your
everybody-
work and say, I'm not one of...
Go
I'm not
away. I don't want any of those videos playing in the background. I don't. It's a lot. Hit the thumbs up. 300. Let's go for 300. Give it a thumbs up right now. If you can right now, give us a thumbs up, a like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm coming on, even though I'm on pretty regularly. I will be doing another Double Neck Download, which is all about, hard rock music, and Richard Hunter and I talk about that exclusively on there. And then Wednesday morning, I'm going to be doing another tutorial episode on live streaming with Stuttering John to try and basically share what I'm having to teach him to help him improve his stream with everybody else, so that they can, and if you're interested in this at all, that's a good place to watch it. So if you want to live stream, or if you want to put videos online and those kind of things, and the technology seems to baffle you, or you're just interested in expanding that stuff, I'm starting to talk about that. I won't do it forever. I'm just doing it to lay it out there so that there's a few or five, videos that you can watch if you think it would help you in any way. And hopefully they'll remain relatively timely for a while. That said, Wednesday regular stream as well, and then of course we'll see. I'm fairly certain we're going to need to get a Rudy video in the next 24 hours, or he's going to be in deep shite. And yeah, somebody brought up Dustin Diamond and his passing. That shocked everybody today. Holy smokes! What a strange turn of events. I'm also going to debut something starting tomorrow that might make it a little more palatable for the newbies, as sort of like opening the show with where I arrange a couple of news stories and the rundown, and do kind of a quick, tight opening of those things before we get into the video stuff, just as its own aside, just to kind of catch up on the news of the day. Because a lot of people in the chat room will ask me about, something, or it'll come up and go, hey, did you talk about this yet? Or did we talk about this? And it'd be nice to be able to reference back to when we did and kind of keep it in a concise area, that kind of stuff. So starting tomorrow, I'm going to try and do that and get a, kind of a short clip opening, and then get into the deep read stuff with you guys. So that's going to start tomorrow. Wish me luck. I'm sure it will adapt and change over time, but I'm just trying to add new elements of show stuff for that. And after the music, yes. Yes, it will be after the music. Yes, I will still play my regular. Hal, why Diamond and Silk? Because they are paid contributors. They're so dumb, really dumb. They upset my stomach. I'm sorry, but that, they are literally growing in influence. If you look on Rumble and these other sites, they're the ones that are getting boosted the most. Quartz and Denim, right? I'm going to do my own version maybe for the next Sexy Liberal, where I'll do, since there's a Diamond and Silk, somebody goes, there needs to be a white Diamond and Silk. So I'm here with Burlap and Leather. Both of us are sitting here, and I'll just play both guys. That could be a party. I'll think about it. Marcia says he had the same cancer as my husband and lived about the same amount of time. My husband lived 1 month and a day post-diagnosis, Screech 3 weeks post-diagnosis. Yeah, I think he didn't. I mean, most people in that situation don't know they have it until they experience pain from it, and it's already too late. So that's where the regular checkup thing is, a part of it. So why that's necessary, and why comprehensive health care is really important. There you go. Anyways, take care of yourselves. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And I'm glad you guys liked the Jesse Ventura video. I started posting some sketches. There's another one that'll come out tomorrow. Then I'm just posting videos over the next couple of days, and then I'm going to start shooting stuff that's just for this show, and then beyond just the Sexy Liberal stuff. Because between Sexy Liberals, there's a lot of jokes and things I don't film because it'll be dead by the time that comes around, but I still want to do them. So I'm thinking about putting Yes, I am hanging up. I always take a long time. So, yeah, me and Fugelsang would be great if we could do that. But we can't be in the same room. So, and he's in snow. So, but I'll make some version of that. Yeah. And I'm glad you guys love having Stuttering John on. I just think it helps. So lots to talk about, lots to do. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a lovely Monday evening. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you to our patrons. I appreciate your support more than you can possibly know. And to everybody who gave stars today on Facebook, we're at 4,600 on there. Thank you guys so much for that. And everybody who gave bits today, Bean McGee and Robin, thank you for the under the wire love. Back and forth, I sway with the wind. That's underwater love. That's a different one. Resolution slips away again. Back to my fingers. I love Mike Patton's thing of singing with his tongue out. And yes, thank you, Mikorama, for bringing that up. To the Venmo crowd, thank you guys for the support via Venmo. I wanted to make sure that I hadn't missed any in there, but that may have come up during this. But yeah, so thank you guys for those of you that use the Venmo to support. Thank you for bringing that up, Mick. I appreciate that. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. I promise. This is me. Okay, I'm really hanging up. Okay, I'm really gonna